Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. This is a story about what if Naruto was the grandson of Artemis. Before I start, please support for more amazing content and do consider subscribing to my channel and share this video with your friends. This is written by Euphoric, image and link in description and support writer. Let's start the video. Chapter 1. Reincarnation. What makes a legend a legend? A smirk made it onto Naruto's lips as Kagaya was finally defeated. Sealed away so securely that escape was impossible. They had won. But at a price. Naruto, damn it, stay with us. Sakura, do something. Oh, look, the team showed emotion for once. Naruto honestly hadn't thought he would ever see Sasuke display any outward emotion again. It's nice, in a way, to see that he still cared. He's a little too late though. Sakura's hand glowed green as sweat trickled down her forehead. I don't know. None of my techniques are responding. Kagaya's final attack, all of her hatred and rage condensed into one devastating strike, had hit Naruto square in the chest. Her last revenge. A goddess's wrath. A normal man must first have a dream. Naruto. You're going to live. I don't know how, but something will happen. You hear me? You're going to live. I command you to. Sorry, Kurama, but I think that's it for me. Kurama growled. An angry sound that couldn't cover up the worry in his voice. You're not going to leave me. I refuse to let you leave me. Always so demanding, Naruto smiled internally. What's wrong with Naruto? His dear sensei. Kakashi-sensei. Naruto could hear the desperation in his voice and he could feel the agony Kakashi-sensei must be going through. Kakashi was going to lose one of his precious people again. That's right. If you die, that brat is probably going to sink into a depression and be angsty and edgy for the next decade. So you better not die. By taking action to accomplish that dream, a man becomes a hero. Sakura despairingly gazed up at Kakashi. Nothing. There's nothing wrong with Naruto that I can detect. Cell degeneration, organ failure, necrosis, psychosis, hemorrhaging, psychological breakdown. There's nothing I can find. Naruto is healthy, both physically and mentally. He should be fine. But he's dying. He's dying. He's not allowed to die, and suddenly, Kakashi was in Naruto's face. It was so odd, seeing both of Kakashi's gray eyes filled with concern. Naruto. Can you hear me? Can you respond? Naruto tried to open his mouth. He tried to do something, anything. But nothing worked. Naruto, I'm telling you, I can't heal you if there's nothing to heal. Naruto could feel Kurama's chakra coursing through his system, looking for any wounds, anything that could be fixed, and finding nothing. When a hero achieves greatness and becomes known throughout the entire world, he becomes a legend. Someone written down in eternity. Someone who has bled to reach greatness. Not again, not again, not again. Kakashi was wild now. He jerked away from Naruto, hands flying to grab his head, eyes crunching shut. Think, you failure, think. Kakashi-sensei. Sakura reached out and touched Kakashi's shoulder. He ignored her, eyes still closed as he tried to think of some way, some technique to save Naruto. HN. I guess once dope, always a dope. Sasuke's goad once might have enraged Naruto, forcing Naruto to push past his limits to punch the team one more time. But now, Naruto couldn't do anything. Don't worry, Kurama. We've won. That's all I care about. But that's not what I care about. I know. I'm sorry. His life force is almost gone now. Sakura had given up, her hands fluttering down helplessly to her side. I can't do anything. Oh, if you die now, then I'll become Hokage. That was enough to give Naruto the power to open his mouth. Team. Naruto Uzumaki was a hero. Naruto Uzumaki was a legend. There was no doubt in anyone's mind that the elemental nations would never, ever forget the name Naruto Uzumaki. The three were on him in an instant. Naruto. What's wrong? How do you feel? Naruto smiled. He didn't have much time left. He didn't have any hope that he'll be saved either. Kagaya's strike was almighty and all-powerful. The attack almost felt alien, in a way. Naruto knew he wouldn't survive. I'm not going to make it. Tears welled up in Sakura's eyes. Naruto, don't leave us. Konoha needs you, we need you. Don't be like Rin, don't be like Obito, don't be like Minato. Naruto, please, 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 just live, just live, just live. Kakashi's hands twitched madly, as if trying to form hand seals, but not knowing which hand seals to form to save Naruto. HN. If you die now, then I will be the unilateral winner of our rivalry. Sasuke grabbed Naruto's hand, gripping it tightly. Dying now is the same as giving up. Are you going to give up? Naruto tried to laugh, but could only manage a feeble chuckle instead. Up. To you now. Protect Konoha. Sasuke hesitated only for a moment before nodding. I will. I promise. Naruto smiled, his blue eyes bright and accepting of his fate. Love. You guys. And his eyes closed and his heart inexplicably and unexplainably stopped, and he didn't hear Sakura finally letting out her sobs and Sasuke shutting his eyes in pain and Kakashi making an inhuman noise filled with suffering and anguish. And one funny thing about legends. One funny, peculiar, miraculous thing. Naruto. Hey. You dead. Puny humans. Such fragile lives. Forcing me to use that jutsu to save you. Legends never die. XXX. The moon shone brightly in the sky. Her chariot was on autopilot, swiftly moving across the sky and providing her with enough light to track her prey. A hellhound. 38 meters. Currently underneath a tree. Artemis nocked an arrow, a practiced motion that she has done countless times over the centuries. She was alone that night. Her hunters were back at the camp, preparing dinner. She had left them behind. The goddess of the hunt enjoyed a solo hunt now and then. Only her and her prey. Artemis's eyes scanned the forest and calculated all of the angles in a split second. Then she let the silver arrow fly, but not in the direction of the hellhound. She watched in satisfaction as the arrow streaked across the forest, ricocheting off the trees until it entered the hellhound with a sickening sound. It crashed down, howling at the moon in the sky, before disintegrating into dust and returning to the pit. Magical arrows were quite fun to use. Her feet not making a single sound, she calmly strode over to the pile of dust and a hellhound tooth, the spoils of war. She didn't have much use for a hellhound tooth, but she can find one. If she killed something, she refused to let it go to waste. A hellhound tooth can be made into an arrow, or sold, or given to some nature spirit to make a necklace. Then, for the first time in centuries, Artemis did something that made her literally gasp in shock. She stumbled. The tiny gasp left her small form as she immediately stood still, looking down at her body. Had she just stumbled? In a forest under the moon. Impossible. A shudder suddenly tore through her body, causing her to spasm somewhat and almost losing control of her mortal form. Silver light began being emitted from her left side, near her midriff. The glow lit up the entire forest, scaring away all of the wildlife. Artemis wasn't in pain. She knew pain, and this wasn't it. It was a foreign feeling, one that she didn't really have the words to describe. It was almost as if there was something ripping away at her very essence itself. And then it was over. The silver light died down and the feeling faded away. Artemis scanned her being. No harm was done. Then she directed her gaze towards the ground and froze. There, lying innocently on the forest floor, was a clump of silver light with bits of orange and red intermixed in. As she watched, the light coalesced into a boy around 3 or 4 years old. Artemis cautiously bent down, examining him. His hair was the exact same shade of auburn as hers. His skin tone was the exact same as hers. He had whisker marks on his cheeks. The boy opened his eyes, and Artemis was met with the same silver-gray eyes she herself saw whenever she stared into her reflection. "Who are you?" she asked in wonder, reaching out to cup the boy's cheek. He flinched away like a wounded animal. Artemis quickly withdrew her hand, instead observing him in fascination from a distance. What was he? The child simply looked at her with wide silver eyes before fainting. Artemis stared down at him. Then she looked down at herself, touching her stomach at where the silver light had originally come from. There's no way. Artemis laid her hand on the child's forehead and sent forth a pulse of her divine power. Resonance occurred. Artemis drew back in shock. Her mouth fell open, another thing that hasn't happened in centuries. Although there's a very, very good reason for that. Her divine power had just resonated with the divinity within the boy. The only way for this to happen is if the two divinities are exactly the same, which is possible in only one scenario. A parent and their child. Was she the mother of this boy? Artemis shook her head in denial, but the facts were clear. He had her hair. He had her eyes. He had her divine power. He was her child. But how was that even possible? Artemis grasped her stomach. She had felt her essence being ripped away. Theoretically, that essence could become a child, similar to how Athena can have children, by combining her brain essence with a father's. Artemis narrowed her eyes. In the silver light her essence she had seen bits of orange and red. She didn't know what it was or where it came from, but it must have been the thing her essence had combined with to create this child. Which meant, no matter how much she hated the idea, this child was hers. She didn't know how, she didn't know why, but she is now a mother. She stared contemplatively down at the boy still sleeping on the forest floor. What should she do now? XXX. Yo Kurama. What have you done? For once, Naruto wasn't in the dark damp sewer of his mind. Instead, he was in a forest. It was dark out and the moon was shining brightly. He ignored the change of scenery. There were more important matters at hand. In front of him, Kurama was curled into a tight ball. Go away. Naruto shook his head. Not until you explain. I thought that I had died. I was ready to see mom and dad and Jiraiya and Neji and Gigi and everyone else again. So why did I wake up in a forest with a young girl looking down at me? Jutsu gone wrong. Kurama yawned before curling even tighter into himself. Meant to reincarnate us two into our younger selves. Naruto blinked. So. Basically you were trying to time travel. I thought I could. I was wrong. I messed up. Kurama. Where the hell are we? Would you believe me when I say we might be in a different dimension? Kurama ventured. Oh dear Kami, what have you done? Naruto paced around. I saved your life. Kurama glared. Be grateful, brat. Yeah, thanks, but how? And why does my body feel different? Kurama refused to meet Naruto's eyes. I meant to send us into the past and meld our souls with our past in the space-time transit, the jutsu. Failed, I guess. And in this dimension, we don't exist, so my jutsu automatically tried to create a new body, since our souls can't take over another person's body. The jutsu doesn't work like that. Please, stop saying take over body, it makes us sound like Orochimaru, Naruto muttered. Kurama ignored him. However, my chakra alone wasn't enough to create a body for us. So that power was borrowed from somebody. Presumably from the girl you met in the forest. Naruto narrowed his eyes. What do you mean? If Biju could create human bodies whenever they want, then Orochimaru would have been a lot more interested in us. But we can't. My chakra wasn't enough, so the jutsu automatically reached out to the nearest being. Naruto, I'm saying that I combined essences with her to save your life. At Naruto's confused look, Kurama sighed heavily. I know I'm asking for a lot here, but I need you to think for once. Naruto opened his mouth to protest, but Kurama interrupted before he could. Think of it like this. Bijuus are essentially beings of chakra. If two Bijuus, say, Matatabi and Asobu combine chakra, then that would form another Biju. Wait, seriously? It works like that? No, it doesn't, but you get the idea. The same thing happened to you. Parts of my essence combined with parts of hers was enough to create a body for us to settle in and sustain your life. So am I still human, or what? Naruto looked down at his hands, half expecting to see orange fur growing. You're no longer a human. To tell you the truth, I don't know what you are. The girl next to you had no chakra. But I still sense something in her. Which is why I said our essences combined and not our chakra. Kurama growled frustratedly. I've never seen anything like her before. She's not human. Well, we are in a different dimension, so it makes sense, Naruto shrugged. Why am I younger though? Because you were reborn. Although you're right, you should be a baby. I haven't the faintest idea why you're 4 years old. But Naruto, do you understand what that means? Naruto nodded. Yeah, I have a new body in a new dimension. Foolish brat. Technically. That girl is your mother. Naruto didn't respond. His brain had ceased all functions. Naruto, you okay there? I just saved your life. Please don't make me save it again. Naruto broke out of the trance. What do you mean she's my mother? You died, Naruto, and then you were reborn. You were conceived from her essence. That makes you her child. It's not a very difficult concept to understand. Kurama's tails flicked around in annoyance before they suddenly became deathly still. And you know something, Naruto? What? Naruto's eyes grew wide. No. You don't mean. Kurama smirked. Indeed. You were also created using my chakra. Which means that. Don't say it, Naruto whispered. Naruto, I am your father. Ooh, you're my partner, don't make this weird. Stop it. Kurama chuckled. In all seriousness though, she is, within all rights and purposes, your mother. Just look at yourself. I don't know what she is, but she must be strong if her essence can overcome my Biju chakra. Naruto tilted his head. What do you mean? Just look at yourself. There was a small stream nearby. Naruto suspiciously regarded Kurama before ambling over to the stream and looked down. His reflection stared back up at him. What in the sage's name am I looking at here? Naruto was looking at himself in the stream. But it was not the same himself the day before. His hair was now auburn. His eyes were silver. His skin tone has changed. The only thing that he had kept was his whisker birthmarks and his facial structure. Her essences. Influence, I would assume. You inherited her physical traits. Do not, however, for a second think that she may be more powerful than me. Her essence is more dominant than mine, which is why it manifested in your body, but that does not mean that she can beat me in a fight. Kurama sniffed imperiously. It's like your human genetics. A dominant gene doesn't make it more powerful than a recessive one. Naruto sighed. Yeah. Do I still have chakra? Of course you do. Who do you take me for? Kurama scoffed. A Naruto without chakra wouldn't be Naruto at all. It would be like Kakashi without his porn. Right, Naruto smacked his forehead suddenly. Damn it. Kurama's eyes flashed in alarm. What is it? Do you feel pain? Is Kagaya's attack still affecting you? Naruto groaned in despair. No, it's not that. I forgot to ask Kakashi-sensei to take off his mask. And now I guess I'll never know what he's hiding. Idiot. I thought that you were actually in trouble for a second. Kurama tucked his head back inside his ball of fur. I think that's it for me. That jutsu took a lot of energy. I need sleep. See you in a few years. Stay safe, Naruto. Good night, Kurama. Hold up, what did you just say? A few years. But Kurama's eyes had already closed and his breathing had evened out. Kurama. No response. Kurama was fast asleep. Naruto sat down, suddenly feeling very tired. He had just fought a goddess and had literally died and been reborn in a new dimension. But more importantly, all of his bonds, all of his precious people, they were lost to him. Only Kurama remained. He'd never see Sakura, Sasuke, Kakashi-sensei, Tenzo, Sai, and everyone else ever again. Shinobi rule number 25 states that a shinobi must never show his tears during a mission. Naruto has always broken that rule, both during and outside of missions. And now, in his own mind with nobody else around, all alone, surrounded by loneliness once more, Naruto broke that rule again. XXX. Artemis was shook out of her thoughts by the sight before her. Was the child crying? Artemis leaned closer even though she didn't really need to. Her eyesight was enough to see the individual specks of dust miles away. He was crying. He made no noise, but tears silently flowed out from under his eyelids. Artemis bit her lip. Then she placed her hand over his. A silver glow suddenly lit up over his body, the warmth comforting him. Slowly, the tears stopped. This boy, no. He wasn't just a boy. Artemis may not like it, but he was her child. He was conceived out of her essence, her being. She can't let information of any of this leak out to the other gods and goddesses. That would be a disaster. All of Olympus would be in an uproar, perhaps even a bigger one than when they had found out Aphrodite was cheating with Ares. A male child of Artemis would be regarded as an abomination. Even worse, there would be numerous dangers and threats against her child. He would probably attract more monsters than even a child of the big three. After all, Zeus, Poseidon, and Hades have had children before. Their children, while strong, are nothing new. But a child of Artemis. New, unique, and never seen before. He would attract an unprecedented amount of trouble. Artemis didn't really know what she was going to do yet, but one thing she knows she doesn't want to do is to bury her child. Where can he be safe though? Not with the hunters, definitely not. Artemis trusted them, but not with something as important and paramount as this. He was her child. Camp Half-Blood. Artemis chuckled at her joke. Sending him to Camp Half-Blood was just asking for him to be discovered and killed. There was only one option left. It wasn't much of an option at all, but at this point, she'll take what she can get. Still cradling the child in her arms, Artemis stood up and summoned her moon chariot. Making sure to mask the boy's presence, Artemis took the reins and commanded the chariot to take off. She went fast, faster than she had ever gone before. Poseidon would be irritated since her moon chariot affected the ocean's tides, but he'll just have to deal with it. Artemis didn't care about that right now. Instead, she was mentally preparing herself for the encounter to come. She glanced down at the sleeping child. He looked so much like her. XXX. Artemis knocked on the door once, bracing herself. She stood in front of a luxurious mansion out in the middle of nowhere. There were numerous cars, all rare and expensive, parked on the marble driveway. Water steadily flowed in the crystal fountain. The door opened to reveal a guy around 17 or 18 years old. Blonde hair tied back in a man bun, blue eyes, a stunning smile. He was wearing a sleeveless t-shirt, jeans, and loafers. This man was called handsome by many, although Artemis didn't see how. He was also very, very annoying. Apollo grinned at Artemis. What's up, sis? Do you want to hear my latest haiku about you? Typically, Artemis would have just shot him a cold glare to shut him up. But this was not a typical situation. Apollo took her silence as a confirmation. A moon without sun. I need your help. Is air without weight, what? Apollo blinked. Did you just say you needed my help? For good measure, his hand lit up, a bright golden color, and he placed it against his ears, presumably to clean out the non-existent earwax. Artemis sighed. Why do you always have to be so dramatic about things? Apollo stared at her. Because you've never asked me for help before. Favors, yes, but never outright help. His gaze traveled down and finally noticed the child that was being carried by a wolf besides her. Sis, did you kidnap a kid? Artemis hesitated. Can we take this inside? Yeah, come on in. Apollo held the door open for Artemis. She stepped through, beckoning the wolf to follow her. The wolf was a temporary creation. The boy was still fast asleep on the wolf's back, face pressed into the soft fur. Artemis stopped in her tracks, in awe of the mansion's interior. It was normal. There wasn't a grand hall, there weren't chandeliers hanging down from the ceiling, there weren't solid gold statues of Apollo scattered all throughout. Not even one statue. Instead, they were in a normal-sized living room. Couches with white leather, a violin stand in the middle, a television floating in midair that Artemis recognized as the latest Hephaestus TV model. It was homely. Artemis turned to Apollo in confusion. "What is this?" Apollo shrugged. "This is my man cave. It's my place to relax and chill. I don't need statues of myself in every corner of the room for that." Artemis was at a rare loss of words. "I didn't think you would enjoy a place as modest as this. I never knew. A man never reveals all his secrets," Apollo winked. "I really like this place." Artemis picked up the child and set him down fast-asleep on the couch. The wolf, its duty finished, faded away in a burst of silver light. "It's nice." "Of course it is. Feel free to drop by whenever you want. So what help do you need, oh holy Zeus Almighty, who in the pits of Tartarus is that?" Apollo's grinning face had transformed into one of absolute horror when he finally saw the features of the sleeping boy on the couch. In a literal flash, Apollo was kneeling down, closely examining the sleeping child. "Artemis," he breathed, "what have you done? Have you lost your mind?" Artemis rolled her eyes and smacked him in the back of the head. "Ow. What was that for?" Apollo rubbed his head, but his attention was still solely focused on the child. "It's not what you're thinking," Artemis scowled. Apollo pointed down at the boy's sleeping form. "Is he your child?" Artemis hesitated, refusing to meet Apollo's eyes. "Yes, he is." Apollo stood up and whirled around to face her. His face was deathly pale. "Artemis, what?" "I don't know where he came from," Artemis interrupted, crossing her arms. "Will you listen to me?" "Speak." The serious expression was back on Apollo's face, and this time, it wasn't an act. "Tell me everything." "I was out hunting alone tonight. A hellhound. Easy enough to kill. When I was walking over to pick up the spoils of war, my stomach began emitting silver light. It felt as if my essence was being ripped from me." Apollo's eyes glowed, an intense golden color. "So you're saying?" Artemis nodded. "There was a reddish-orange essence intermixed with my silver one. The result is this child." "Whose?" Apollo demanded. Rage was written on his face. "Who did it?" Artemis was taken aback, but only for a moment. "I don't know. I didn't sense anyone around." And then a cold fury flashed across her face. "And when I find out who it was, I will carve them into pieces." Her gaze traveled down to the child, and she softened. "He's an innocent, though." "Oh man," Apollo ran his hand through his hair. "Well, it's reassuring to know that you're still a maiden." "I am, and I always will be," Artemis affirmed. "Good, at least we don't have to worry about the troubles that would come with that." "Artemis, you know that this child, if found out, will be targeted, right?" "A child of Artemis, no, not only that. A male child of Artemis. He'll be in danger if he's ever discovered." Apollo tilted his head. "But then again, I suppose that's why you're here." "As much as it pains me to admit it, brother, I need your help." Artemis was uncharacteristically vulnerable. "I can't keep him with me, and I don't have anywhere else to put him that I know is safe other than with you. Can you help me?" "You realize," Apollo began, "I'll be breaking numerous ancient laws to do this. I wouldn't do this even for my own children. It's going to take up a lot of my time, patience, and energy. So, my answer to your request is..." Artemis turned away. Of course. Such an outrageous request surely could not be granted. Apollo spread his arms and smiled. "For you, my dear little sister, I'll do anything. I'll keep him safe." Artemis turned back around, startled, before a grateful smile spread across her face. "Thank you, Apollo." "You're welcome. That explains why you came here out of all places." Apollo rubbed his chin. "It's because this is one of the few places I keep shielded from view. A man needs his privacy, you see." "Indeed. I doubt even Athena knows about what happens inside of here, and she makes it a habit to try to know everything." Apollo knelt down once more and laid his hand on the boy's forehead. His hand glowed a golden color. "Yup, he's your kid alright. I could recognize my twin sister's power anywhere. Although this other thing in him..." Artemis nodded. "Do you know what it is?" Apollo shook his head. "No, I don't. My prophecy powers aren't telling me anything either. I'm in the dark with you, sis." Artemis eyed. "I suppose I'll have to track him down myself." Apollo slowly edged away from Artemis, who was leaking out a murderous intent. "You do that. I'll just take care of your kid. Hey, what's his name? Have you even named him yet?" The kid in question chose this time to wake up. He exhaled deeply, his eyes slowly opening up to reveal silver gray eyes the same color as the moon. "His eyes are the exact same color as yours as well," Apollo said in fascination. "If anyone else saw this kid, then they'll immediately know he's yours. It's obvious. Which is why I chose you to go to. As paradoxical as it seems, I know that you're the best to go to when keeping a secret. You can shield his presence from the other immortals." Artemis walked over to the boy who was sitting up, watching them both with wide eyes. "Hey, kid, how are you doing?" Apollo grinned down. The boy didn't respond. "Idiot," Artemis muttered. "He was born not even hours ago. He doesn't know how to speak yet." Apollo narrowed his eyes. "Are you sure about that? Remember, he's not a normal demigod. Just like how you and I were born with the knowledge of language, it's entirely plausible that this child could speak too." Artemis frowned. "We're also gods. The red and orange essence, whoever it was from, was not from a god. That much I can tell." Apollo shrugged. "Well, it can't hurt to try." He turned back to the boy, who seemed a little terrified. "So do you understand us?" The boy's gaze remained uncomprehending and clueless. You may be correct," Apollo sighed. "That's unfortunate. So, have you decided on a name for him yet?" "No, I have not. What do you suggest?" "How about App?" "Never mind. On second thought, I don't think I'll ever forgive myself if I let you name my child. I'll decide." Artemis tapped her fingers on her thigh. Naruto." They both whirled on the boy, who drew back in fear. And then Naruto. "So he did understand us. He probably just couldn't speak yet," Apollo crowed triumphantly. "As usual," Artemis ignored him. "Your name is Naruto?" The boy, Naruto, nodded enthusiastically. "Naruto." Artemis looked at Apollo, who just shrugged. "Naruto it is then." Apollo rubbed his chin. "That name sounds Japanese. It reminds me of the time I spent in Japan. Here, let me compose a haiku. Perhaps at a later time, brother. For now, my hunters will be wondering where I am. And. Thank you." Artemis turned to leave. "Mama?" Naruto called out. Artemis froze in place. Then, unable to deal with her conflicting turbulent feelings, she continued to walk away, leaving the boy behind. Just because she was outwardly calm didn't mean she was tranquil on the inside. She was still reeling from the events of the night. She needed time. "Sis. I'll take care of him." Apollo watched her shut the door behind her sadly. "Mama?" Naruto called again, this time a lot more desperately. Apollo took a deep breath before brightly smiling down at Naruto. "She has to leave for now. She'll be back soon. How you doing?" "My name's Apollo. I'm your uncle." Naruto squinted up at him. "Unka." Apollo nodded. "Artemis, the beautiful girl who just left, was my sister. She's also your mother." "Okie. XXX." Naruto knew a new language. Sometime between waking up in the forest and waking up in this room, a new language seems to have settled down in his brain. In fact, he knew two new languages. Greek and English. It was almost as if it was hardwired into his brain. He didn't know how it worked, but he was thankful for it. He didn't want to have to learn a new language from scratch. He was also very, very freaked out. Naruto had woken up in the chariot when flying in the sky. He had hidden it, of course, because people let all sorts of information slip when they think he's asleep. And there was definitely a lot of information. These two people, Artemis and Apollo, his mother and uncle, were apparently gods. Like Kagaya. Naruto shivered. Does this mean he was part god now? And apparently, him being the son of Artemis was a big deal. Probably even a bigger deal than him being the son of the Yellow Flash. Naruto needed to be careful from now on. If these two truly were gods, and there were other gods out there, then. Well, immortals live forever, so they have a very long time to collect enemies. He was going to continue to feign sleep, but. Well, his name mattered to him. He was Naruto Uzumaki, and there was no way he'll ever accept anything else. They didn't question him on how he got that name, thankfully. Probably because they were gods and they were used to stuff like this happening. Whatever. It worked out for him. Artemis was pissed at Kurama. Naruto sincerely hoped she never found out that it was him who had ripped away at her divine essence. Technically, it was Kurama's jutsu, but he doubted she would care. Although Naruto doesn't know how she would exact her revenge, given how Kurama lived in his seal. Hold on. Naruto didn't have a seal anymore for Kurama to reside in. He was reborn into a new body that didn't have the Shinigami seal or his own custom seal. So where was Kurama? And Naruto will worry about that later. Another question was exactly where Kurama found this reincarnation jutsu. It sucked, for one, since it didn't actually work the way it was intended to. Naruto had been reborn with all of his memories, yes. The only problem is that they were in a brand new dimension and Naruto wasn't human anymore. Was he half Biju half god? This was on the same level of confusingness as Obito. But then again, it didn't matter what Naruto was. After all, it's not the face or the body that make someone who they are, it's the choices they make with their lives. Naruto could be in Orochimaru's body for all he cares because he'll never stop being Naruto Uzumaki, believe it. It had stung Naruto a bit when his mother had left. He didn't even know her, but he was all alone in this new world and with Kurama asleep, she was all he had. But he didn't blame her. He would be shocked too if Kurama's chakra was suddenly stolen and used to make a mini Biju. It still hurt, though. So, Naruto, anything else you want to tell me? You know, when I was born, I immediately sang a song about my awesomeness and how I would be the god of archery, prophecy, and all that jazz. How about you? Any dreams of what you're going to do? Apollo grinned down at Naruto. His teeth were blindingly white. A dream? Before, Naruto had a dream to become Hokage. He had a dream to be accepted by everyone. He had a dream to protect his precious people and to bring back Sasuke. But there's no Konoha anymore. There's no villagers that hate him, there's no Sasuke, there's no precious people to protect. Besides Kurama, of course, but Kurama would probably swallow Naruto whole if he ever implied that Kurama needed any protecting. So now, Naruto's dream is to just find someone precious again. Naruto gazed contemplatively at the man still grinning down at him. Apollo. His new uncle. He can start from there. And so Naruto returned Apollo's grin with a shining smile of his own. I want to be friends with you. Apollo's smile widened. Oh, you have a good dream. A very good dream indeed. Fortunately, Apollo didn't question Naruto's sudden jump in speaking skills. Either gods were super clueless or they saw so much weird stuff every day, small things like this didn't even faze them. Naruto hoped it was the former, but with his track record, it was definitely the latter. XXX. 1 month after. Damn it. You're cheating. Naruto howled in outrage, slamming down his box controller on the soft white cushions. Apollo smirked. You're just too bad, that's all. Don't worry, losing is normal. Naruto had adapted to life living with a god fairly well. There were some minor glitches here and there, like how there weren't any bathrooms in the mansion, that had almost been a disaster, but overall it was going pretty well. He wasn't allowed past the boundary line. Apollo's domain was the mansion, and as long as Naruto stayed within the domain, then he would be shielded from view. But if he stepped past the boundary, all sorts of deities and creatures can sense him. It was aggravating, not being able to go outside. It was almost as if there was something inside of him urging, compelling, demanding him to leave the confines of the building and enjoy the wilderness. Naruto yearned to be in a forest again, to be among trees and enjoy the crisp fresh air. But he wasn't stupid or rash or reckless anymore. He knew that if he went out and was discovered, there would be trouble not only for him, but also for Apollo and Artemis. And so, even though it pained him, he did the smart thing and stayed inside. Apollo wasn't bad company. He was really good, actually. He still had his annoying moments, though. Such as right now. We're having a 1v1 match on Super Smash Bros, Naruto glared. Yes. You killed me. With ease. Your eyes were closed. I'm just that good. You weren't even touching the controller. Apollo shrugged. I'm a god. I'm not limited by mortal. That's cheating. Controlling it with your mind completely defeats the purpose of the game. Naruto shouted, jumping to his feet. His eyes blazed with determination and a fire roared to life in his heart. You know what? If you're going to cheat like that, fine. But know this. Even with your cheats, I, Naruto, will defeat you so badly, you will rue the day you introduced me to this game. Believe it. Apollo chuckled. Good luck with that, Naruto. Another round. XXX. 2 months after. Wait, let me get this straight, Naruto leaned forward, squinting suspiciously at Apollo. So you're saying that you are the son of Zeus, the king of gods? Correct. Artemis is your sister. Is pointing out the obvious a hobby of yours? Shut up. Zeus is married to Hera and had Ares together. Tell me to shut up again and I'll show you what we used to do to ungrateful brats in Sparta. Here's a hint. It involved blood. Ooh, I'm so scared, and he would have been if Apollo didn't make these threats every other hour. He never carried out on them though, mostly because Artemis would have slaughtered him if he did. But Hera is, like, you know, Zeus's sister. Aha. Naruto stared at Apollo. They're siblings. Apollo shrugged. Gods don't have DNA. Not having DNA doesn't make it any less weird. Apollo shook his head. You're looking at this from a mortal perspective. From a godly perspective, it's not weird at all. The only thing that's frowned upon is if a god dates their children or demigods with the same parents getting together. Right? Besides, we're all related in some way, so if you're going to be like that, your dating pool will be limited to only mortals and nature spirits, Apollo shrugged. Okay. Surprisingly, Naruto doesn't feel that strongly about the opposite gender anymore. He's not sure if it's because he's back in a child's body, but for some reason, whenever he thought about Hinata, his heart didn't pound and his face didn't flush anymore. Perhaps it was Artemis's influence on him. XXX. 3 months after. Naruto forlornly stared out the window of the mansion. His fingers tapped a disjointed pattern on the marble edge. He sensed Apollo come up behind him. When? Somehow, Apollo understood what Naruto meant from that one-word question. I don't know, he answered truthfully. Naruto turned around to face Apollo, and Apollo could see the pain in Naruto's eyes. Why won't she come see me? I don't know, Apollo repeated. It's because she hates me, Naruto whispered, looking down at his tiny feet. No, it's not, Apollo began, but Naruto cut him off with a bitter chuckle. Oh please. Don't give me that. Artemis never wanted a child, much less a male child. I'm nothing but a painful reminder to her, Naruto looked away. Otherwise, why else hasn't she come seen me even once? Apollo hesitated. Because she doesn't want to hurt you. Hurt me? Naruto whirled around to face him. Apollo's eyes narrowed, angered at Naruto's tone, but all of his anger dissipated when he saw the tears on Naruto's face. Are you out of your mind? Why would she think she would hurt me? We're gods, Apollo said simply. Most gods, even the nice ones, aren't exactly great parent material except for me, of course. And my little sister has never had a child before. She's seen what the other gods do, the tragedies they cause, and she's terrified she'll do the same to you. She doesn't want you to be hurt. Naruto looked at Apollo despairingly. I don't care if she insults me. I don't care if she glares at me. I just don't want to be left alone by her. Why does she have to ignore me? Loneliness is a hell. Naruto thought he had been rescued from years ago, but for some reason, he was right back. Although that wasn't entirely true. He wasn't truly alone. Apollo was here. But just like how it was back then, when he had Jiji, Tucci, and AM, Apollo wasn't enough. Naruto couldn't leave the mansion. Nobody could come in except Artemis, his own mother. And she never did. Apollo opened his mouth to speak, but then closed it. I'm sorry, Naruto, he finally said. XXX. 4 months after. Naruto leaned back, dodging Apollo's sword swing by a hair's length. He then rushed forward, fist already ready to deliver a devastating blow. Apollo tried to bring back his sword to attack Naruto once more, but Naruto jumped up and borrowed one of Lee's techniques, kicking Apollo's sword arm away with the Konoha Senpyu. The sword clattered out of Apollo's hands, and Apollo was forced to block all of Naruto's punches barehanded. Apollo cocked his fist back for a hook punch. Naruto smirked. Apollo was broadcasting his attacks like an academy student. Naruto could see right through it. Naruto sidestepped, deflecting the hook harmlessly past him with his hand, kicked out with his leg to take out Apollo's knees, and used his other fist to punch Apollo square in the face. Just as his fist was about to make contact, Apollo exploded into action. His hand blurred as he effortlessly blocked Naruto's fist with his palm, and then Naruto's kick hit Apollo in the knees. Naruto quickly disengaged afterwards, jumping back to put some distance between them. Ow. For a little guy, you kick hard, Apollo rubbed his knee, wincing. When I proposed combat training today, I did not imagine it to be like this. What, you losing badly? Naruto taunted. Apollo narrowed his eyes. I would like to remind you that I am fighting at less than 1% of my full power. Don't be like the other demigods before you. Arrogance will only lead to your downfall. Apollo may be fighting at less than 1% of his full power, but so was Naruto. Naruto shrugged. Less than 1% or not, I, a small child, still landed an attack on you. That cannot possibly be good for your reputation if it got out, My main weapon is the bow. If I wanted to, I could spam you down with arrows from a mile away and you would be powerless to stop it. Apollo's golden bow materialized in his hand with a flash. Care to try it? Naruto held up his hands. Hold up, we can talk about this. The time for talk, Apollo smirked, is over. So is combat training, for that matter. We're moving on to dodge training now. Don't point that thing at me. Why are you knocking 8 arrows at once? You can't possibly fire 8 arrows at once with any accuracy, holy sage. XXX. 5 months after. Why am I so good at archery? Naruto asked quizzically. Your mother is Artemis, who I freely admit is almost as skilled as me. In other words, she's better than you. I never said that. Aha. So her skills transferred down to me. Yeah. Just like how my own children are great at bows, singing, basketball, and healing, you get some powers from Artemis. That's a scary thought. What? You getting special demigod powers because you're the child of Artemis? No, the fact that you have children. I'll have you know that of all the gods, I am in the top 5 in terms of the most demigod children. Shut up, I don't want to hear about that. XXX. 6 months after. Apollo wasn't with Naruto for most of the day. He had his duties to attend to. As a result, Naruto was often left all alone in the mansion. He used this time to train his chakra. He didn't want Apollo finding out about his chakra yet. Naruto is well aware that he can't keep this a secret forever, but he wanted to wait some time before he revealed it. Page Bunshin no Jutsu. The entire mansion was suddenly filled with clones. You all know what to do. Come on, let's get to it. Right. A chorus of voices responded. The clones scattered, forming groups to work on getting Naruto his skills back. Ever since he was reborn, Naruto's skill level has decreased drastically. Understandable, since he's a small child. His chakra control was non-existent, his reflexes diminished, his speed slow, his strength low. All in all, it wasn't so great. Naruto was at around low Jonin level right now. He needs to get back to Kage level. And that means training. Because in this new world full of gods and monsters, Naruto needs to be strong to protect his precious people. Well, okay. Precious person, so far. Apollo was Naruto's only friend. Kurama was still fast asleep. Naruto really wanted Kurama to wake up, partly to have another being to talk to, partly to ask Kurama exactly where he had gotten that jutsu. Why, out of all the gods and goddesses, was Naruto a child of Artemis? Lots of unanswered questions with no way of answering them. In any case, if Naruto wanted to be able to protect Apollo, who was a literal god, then Naruto had to be strong. Really damn strong. A loud combination of voices suddenly screamed out the same thing. Rasengan. XXX. 7 months after. You're aging at a rapid pace, Apollo said in a white lab coat. You think? Naruto was biologically only 7 months old, but he already had the appearance of a 6-year-old. Naruto was kinda freaked out about it. Apollo tilted his head. I still can't pinpoint exactly what you are. You're half goddess from Artemis, but the other half. I don't know what it is. Naruto instantly felt very, very nervous. It's not another god or titan. You don't have golden nature. It's not a dryad or an aid or a wind spirit or an earth spirit. It's not a monster either, Apollo frowned. What are you? Naruto shrugged nonchalantly. No idea. Technically, that was the truth. Naruto had no idea what to classify himself as. Huh. Whatever. As long as you don't get the urge to consume human flesh, we should be good. XXX. 9 months after. There are 7 billion people in the world. Naruto exclaimed in shock. Apollo nodded. Approximately. Is that really that shocking to you? Yeah. There's so many people. 7 billion. That's more than 10 times the population of the elemental nations. The number was insane. So you're saying that, in order to win this game, we have to kill 7 billion people. Naruto gestured at the television, where they were playing Plague Arrows Incorporated. It's not a game, Apollo corrected. It's a simulation of what would happen if I ever decided to unleash my plague arrows. I'm known as the god of healing, but many people also forget I have control over diseases. A real simulation would also account for other gods interfering and stopping the diseases. This isn't a simulation, it's a game. Apollo sighed. If you insist on being stubborn, well. I know better than to start arguments with idiots. Yeah, because you know you lose. And what does that make you? Worse than an idiot. Careful, Naruto, unless you want me to infect you with something nasty. Naruto called his bluff. You won't. Apollo paused and stared intently at Naruto, a dangerous gleam entering his eyes. You really think I won't? Naruto stood his ground. His body was half Biju chakra. Getting sick when he was a Jinchuriki was already hard before. Now, with the Biju chakra literally forming his body. Naruto doubted there was a virus out there that could withstand the power. Do it, I dare you. There was a stare down for a moment, with neither side backing down. Apollo snapped his fingers. Naruto immediately scooted away on the white couch. Whoa. You weren't actually supposed to do it. What did you do? Apollo frowned. That's odd. You were supposed to have developed itchy spots all over your body, and, no matter how hard you scratched at it, the itch would never go away. That's evil, Naruto whispered in horror. That's pure evil. Apollo shrugged. Hey, I just borrowed the idea from the mosquitoes. They're the ones who came up with it. Although now I'm interested. Are you immune to diseases? Why don't you test it out? Naruto was curious as well. 39 different assorted viruses, bacteria, fungi, and protozoans later, Apollo finally let out a sigh. You're completely immune. Naruto pumped his fist in the air. Ha. Sucks, doesn't it, god of diseases? I'm just confused as to where you got this immunity from, Apollo scratched his head. It's not from Artemis. She can only grant immunity from diseases if you receive her blessings to become a hunter of Artemis. It must be from your other half, then. Probably, Naruto casually tried to change the subject. Alright, so now that we've established my new awesome power, let's play. Apollo grinned. Very well. Let's make the human race extinct. Naruto and Apollo both readied their bows and aimed at the television. A map of the entire world appeared. Where first? Naruto asked. India, of course. They have both sea and air travel, not to mention they border several countries. Apollo shifted his aim slightly to the right. India it is. Apollo fired, the magical arrow sinking harmlessly into the television and a red bubble appearing on top of India. Naruto let loose his own arrow at the red bubble, popping it. So how do we win? Our disease cannot have any symptoms at first because we don't want my children, the doctors and researchers, to develop a cure. Then, when everyone is infected, we strike with total organ failure. Sounds nasty. Let's do it. Oh, but the hardest part is infecting Greenland. Gods, I hate Greenland. XXX. 11 months after. Apollo was gone again, off to perform his duties. Naruto grunted as the force of the impact knocked him back. He quickly redirected the momentum, bending backward into a back handspring and kicking up viciously. His foot met something hard, then it passed harmlessly through the chakra smoke when the clone dispelled. Nice one, boss. Naruto grinned smugly. Thank you, thank you. He was busy sparring with his cage buncheons. He needed to get used to Taijutsu in a younger body. Naruto didn't have as much reach and power, but his small size meant he could pull off a lot of things he couldn't do before. Come at me. I'll take you all on. His clones grinned at him menacingly. All of us. Naruto gulped, looking at the veritable sea of orange in the hall. Wait, not all of you. I only meant like maybe 30 or so. That's not what we heard, boss. And they charged, their roars drowning out Naruto's shout of "You're my clones. You're supposed to listen to me. You know what, fine. Rasengan. XXX. 1 year after. Naruto stared out the window. The full moon in all its glory stared down at him. Naruto. Apollo walked up to stand next to Naruto. The moon is beautiful tonight, Naruto whispered, the moonshine illuminating his face. It is, Apollo agreed. There was a silence between them for a moment. She loves you, you know. She does, huh? Naruto scoffed. It's been a year, Naruto turned to face Apollo. Why hasn't she come yet? Apollo gazed at him with an unrecognizable look on his face. I have never met most of my children before. Naruto's eyes widened in shock. What? Apollo chuckled self-deprecatingly. I have a cabin full of my children and I haven't met most of them yet. And the ones that I have met, our exchanges were limited to a few minutes. I'm forbidden to interact with them by the ancient laws. In fact, I'm breaking several right now, even as we speak. Naruto frowned. Then why are you taking care of me? Why? Because, on the night you were born, my little sister. She. Apollo turned away, his face obscured by the darkness. Naruto leaned forward. She what? She. And suddenly, Apollo was right in front of Naruto's face, tears of joy welled up in his eyes and a bright smile on his face. My adorable little sister finally asked me for help. Huh? Apollo stepped back and did a little dance. She has never asked for my help before. Every time I see her, she's always like I need a favor or do this for me or this is a command. But that night, she asked for my help. How could I refuse my sis's request for help? That's your reason? Naruto asked in disbelief. Hey, I gotta help out my little sister. Apollo grinned. Because that's what older brothers do. His expression turned serious. And that's how I know she loves you. Because she wouldn't ask me to do this if she didn't. Naruto silently gazed at Apollo for a moment. Thank you, he finally said. Apollo grinned. No problem. It still hurt though. Before, Naruto had thought the worst pain in the world was not having a mother. But now, he knew the worst pain is having one that doesn't want to see your face. Disclaimer. I don't own Naruto or Percy Jackson. Chapter 2. Forgiveness. 1 year, 2 months after. I am interested in you, Apollo said. Naruto immediately backed away until he hit the wall. What did you just say? Apollo winced. Why do you have to be so loud? Anyways, as I was saying, I'm scientifically interested in your body. You're the only child of Artemis in existence and I want to test out your powers. Naruto tried his very best to activate Kamui and sink into the wall. It didn't work. Phrasing, Apollo, phrasing. Apollo frowned. What? Never mind, Naruto sighed. Then he perked up. So, how does it work? Gukuku, Apollo chuckled menacingly. Follow me, Naruto. Naruto gulped in fear. XXX. 1 year, 2 months, and 3 hours after. Naruto collapsed onto the wood floor, feeling as if he'd just been hit by a Susanoo. Hey, careful. Don't get your sweat on the wood. These floors cost me a fortune, Apollo warned. Naruto breathed in deeply, ignoring Apollo. He had just gone through one of the most exhausting training sessions he had ever been in. It wasn't as bad as Kakashi-sensei's hell training, but it was close. Conclusions. Naruto gasped out. Wait, no. Water first. Apollo snapped his fingers and a bottle of Coke appeared, which he offered to Naruto. I said water. Don't be a picky drinker, Apollo snapped his fingers once again and the Coke turned into a bottle of spring water which Naruto took gratefully. You're just like Artemis. I bet that on your birthday, you'll ask for trail mix instead of a cake. Oh wait. Naruto and Apollo locked eyes and froze. Naruto spoke first. My birthday. I completely forgot. Apollo finished, horror on his face. They stared at each other. I'll get us some ramen later tonight. Apollo offered. Naruto brightened. It's a deal. Perfect. Now that we have that out of the way, let us analyze the results. A dossier appeared in Apollo's hands. Naruto leaned forward, eager to hear what Apollo had to say. Let's see. We already know about your immunity to diseases. Your overall physical capabilities are far above mortals, which is typical for most demigods. As a child of Artemis, your reflexes are off the charts, you have a great innate skill with archery, and your senses are inhumanly good. And? Nope. That's it. Those are all the things I can detect at this point. That's it? Naruto asked incredulously. You made me go through 3 hours of hell just to tell me what I already knew. Apollo smirked. That, and it was great entertainment. XXX. 1 year, 3 months after. Let me get something straight, Naruto held up one finger. The original 6 gods, Zeus, Poseidon, Hades, Demeter, Hera and Hestia, overthrew their father, Kronos. Congratulations, you've just mastered Greek mythology 101. Zeus sliced Kronos up and scattered his remains across Tartarus. The other titans that had sided with Kronos were also either cast into Tartarus or imprisoned. Apollo sighed. How in the name of me is that relevant to what we're doing right now? Naruto looked down at the game of chess that they were playing. Well, you're cheating and I'm cheating, so there's not really much of a point of focusing on this. Apollo shrugged. Fair enough. Chess was never really my thing anyways. Athena, on the other hand, loves chess. The game of a strategist, she says. It simulates a battle. Naruto scoffed. Chess. Chess has nothing to do with a real battle. Exactly. Apollo leaned back and spread his arms in agreement. I'm the god of archery. I'm not going to move onto my enemy's square, I'm gonna take them down from a mile away. And there are no surprises in chess. The opponent has all of the information, and you're heavily limited by what you can and cannot do. Naruto slammed his hand down onto the table, rattling the entire chessboard and knocking several pieces down. See, in a real battle, that's how you win. You do something the enemy doesn't expect. Apollo nodded fervently. I concur completely. Naruto started picking up the fallen chess pieces and placing them back onto the board. So why are you asking about Kronos? Apollo said curiously. Naruto bit his lip. Did Zeus or any of the other gods try to talk to their dad at all? To try to understand why he did what he did? Apollo stared at Naruto. Dude. Kronos literally swallowed them whole. There's no room for understanding there. The only thing to do, the right thing to do, was to overthrow Kronos. Naruto was silent for a moment. So the god's vengeance brought justice, huh? Yeah, I'll say it certainly did, Apollo nodded. And if that justice only brings more vengeance? Naruto rubbed his hands unconsciously. A memory of an old wound. The titans aren't fully gone. They're going to come back one day and attack Olympus. Apollo hesitated. We don't know that for sure. But if it does happen, Naruto pressed on. The titans will seek revenge. They will want to raise. Apollo drew in a sharp breath. Olympus to the ground. And then the gods will attack them again, right? If the titans do come back and attack Olympus, then yes, we will counterattack and beat them again, Apollo confirmed. So it's the same, Naruto whispered. Even though shinobi do not exist in this world, hatred is still present. What was that? Nothing, Naruto said. Oh, by the way, checkmate. Apollo blinked and looked down at the board. Sure enough, he was checkmated. Did you seriously move the chess pieces that you knocked down into a position that would checkmate me while I was right here watching you? In a real battle, do you think the enemy will follow the rules? I won. Naruto smirked. Apollo glared at Naruto. I'll call it a tie, and that's the best offer you're going to get. I'll take it. XXX. 1 year, 4 months after. Naruto was bored. He was surprised it took him that long to become bored, but in all fairness, there were a lot of things to do in the mansion. But today, Naruto didn't feel like reading the old myths or training or perfecting his Pikachu against bots. With Apollo off to do his own things, there's nothing Naruto could do. The cunning smirk appeared on Naruto's face. There's nothing he could do. Except for execute the plan. Naruto had played the long con. He had convinced Apollo that he was an innocent little boy. And now, with Apollo's guard down, it's time to strike. XXX. The Hall of the Gods was alive with chatter for the monthly council meeting. Aphrodite was flirting with Ares, Hephaestus's hands were tinkering with some gears while glaring at Aphrodite, Athena was discussing the benefits of lowering the mortal drinking age with Dionysus, Zeus was arguing with Hera, and Poseidon was passed out from boredom. Artemis surveyed everyone with a neutral look. Internally, however, she was heavily irritated. There were rumors about ancient and powerful enemies of Olympus beginning to rise. Whispers of forces long forgotten stirring from their sleep. The only problem was that the gods weren't willing to separate the truth from the lie. They're well aware of the rumors, they just don't care. Artemis disliked that. If there truly are threats against Olympus, then immediate action must be taken to first identify and then combat the threats before they spiral out of control. Father, shall we begin? Artemis called out, silencing everyone or in Poseidon's case, startling him awake. Her neutral expression became a cold one. Or shall we continue to waste time? Zeus coughed. Ahem. You're right. Let's begin. Hey, wait, where's Apollo? The gods and goddesses looked around, but Apollo was nowhere to be seen. That idiot, Artemis muttered under her breath. Why is he late? The grand double doors slammed open and Apollo staggered through. Artemis opened her mouth to rebuke him and promptly froze at the sight. Everyone else did the same. They all just stared at Apollo. Apollo's hair was a bright pink color, along with what looked like about a pound of glitter scattered in. It was also sticking out in every direction imaginable. His skin was dyed neon orange. There was black marker on his face, a mustache, whiskers, a fox's paw print, and a small drawing that vaguely resembles a leaf. There was an audible silence in the hall. Hermes started trembling, trying to keep it together. What's up, everyone? Apollo grinned. The grin was clearly forced, and his eyes twitched every few seconds. Your hair, for one, Ares answered in a rare display of wit. And with that, it was all over for everyone else. They all burst into a resounding laughter that echoed throughout the halls. Even Artemis chuckled a few times. She could definitely appreciate seeing her brother like this. Throughout all of this, Apollo stood there, grin still fixed on his face, eyes twitching madly. Right, well, I'll just go ahead and sit down. Who did that to you? Hermes inquired, a twinkle in his eye. I need to shake their hand. And steal their watch went unsaid, but everyone in the room knew it. Apollo clenched his fists. Yeah, I wonder who, he said, staring right at Artemis. Artemis's eyes widened. So it was him. She smiled amusedly. He did well. The council meeting continued, with a few chuckles here and there whenever someone looked at Apollo. And during the meeting, nobody noticed the curious gleam in the little girl's eyes while she tended to the hearth, keeping the flames alive. XXX. 1 year, 5 months after. Naruto. What are you doing? Naruto spun around, blocking Apollo's view of the papers on the desk behind him with his body. Nothing. Oh? That doesn't look like nothing to me, Apollo walked forward, craning his head to get a better view. Naruto couldn't let him see what was on the papers. It had to be kept a secret. But how can he stop Apollo? If Apollo wanted to do something, then he will do it. Oh? Right. Naruto could always just do that. Naruto smirked at Apollo. Apollo immediately jumped back, a hazmat suit materializing to cover his entire body. His eyes flickered around the room, scanning for any hidden surprises. Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. You won't get me again, Naruto. And with that, Apollo disappeared in a flash of golden light. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. It worked. Ever since he had pranked Apollo, Apollo had been downright paranoid. Seeing Naruto smirk at him must have sent him into Defcon 1. Naruto looked back at the papers on the desk. That was a close call. XXX. 1 year, 6 months after. Naruto stared at the person in front of him. Apollo. He screamed, jumping back, hands already coming together to form hand seals. A few moments passed before Apollo was there in a literal golden flash of light, his bow out and an arrow knocked at the intruder. There was a sudden heavy pressure that pressed down against everything, cracks forming on the wall from the might. Who dares intrude upon my domain, Hestia? Apollo abruptly lowered his bow, confusion written on his face. What are you doing here? How are you even here? Naruto tilted his head questioningly, hands still held together in a familiar cross-shaped hand seal. He was fully willing to reveal the existence of chakra to fight back anyone powerful enough to intrude in Apollo's domain. Hestia. Naruto examined the small girl in front of him. She was a few years older than him, around 11 years old. She had black hair and warm brown eyes, like pools of chocolate. Apollo cautiously dismissed his bow, which vanished in a flash of golden light. He looked around wildly, as if sensing for any other intruders. After a moment, he relaxed. Naruto, meet my aunt, Hestia, the goddess of the hearth, home, and family, Hestia cut in, smiling. It's nice to see you again, Apollo. What are you doing here? What is she doing here? Naruto and Apollo spoke in unison. They turned to each other, surprised. Hey, kid, the adults are talking. That means for you to shut up, Apollo said. Naruto scoffed. Adults? You banned Raymond for a week after the harmless prank I pulled on you. Is that what an adult would do? You deserve that after embarrassing me in front of the council, Apollo snarled. Hestia coughed lightly. Yes, well, as amusing as that was, allow me to reveal what I am doing here. Apollo and Naruto turned to her. To be honest, at the moment, I'm more concerned about the how. If I have any security issues, I need to fix them, Apollo narrowed his eyes. How did you get in here? Hestia stared at him. You invited me. Apollo frowned. No, I didn't. Yes, you did, Hestia grinned mischievously. Remember a few thousand years ago when Artemis wouldn't talk to you? Apollo's face darkened. We don't talk about the Dark Ages. Ah, of course. Well, after I told you what to say to her and she spoke the first words to you in, what was it again? 529 years, 8 months, 23 days, 5 hours, 49 minutes, 23 seconds, Apollo answered automatically. That's a made-up number and you know it, Naruto accused. Apollo's eyes were unfocused, lost in painful memories. No. I counted every second. She wouldn't look at me, talk to me, even be in the same room with me. It was the single worst time of my entire life. Huh. What did you do to make her so mad? Naruto asked. A mistake. Yes, well, Hestia cut in, after she finally spoke to you and you cried and danced and sang songs about the awesomeness of your little sister, you celebrated for 3 days straight afterwards. Apollo nodded slowly. I do remember that, yes. Then do you remember when you came up to thank me, drunk out of your mind? A little fuzzier, but yeah. And do you remember saying, and I quote, Hestia, you are wonderful. From this day forward, where I am welcome, you are welcome. Nothing else could show my eternal appreciation for you. Hestia's grin widened. That was binding? Apollo asked incredulously. Hestia nodded. Your intent was clear. It was an invitation to your domain and since you never took it back, the offer stood to this day. Apollo crossed his arms. So you mean to say. All this time, you could have entered all of my domains. Indeed, Hestia confirmed cheerily. So don't worry, there aren't any security risks here unless you granted another person permission to roam all your domains. Apollo shook his head. No, I wouldn't be stupid enough to do that. Naruto smirked. And yet, here she is. Apollo chose to ignore him. What brings you here, Hestia? Hestia raised an eyebrow. You know that I'm the goddess of home and family, correct? So how could I possibly not have noticed a new addition to my dear nephew's family? Especially with how much time the new addition spent at home. At first, I thought nothing of it. Perhaps it was a nature spirit that you took fancy to, or maybe you found yourself a goddess to settle down with. Hestia leaned forward conspiratorially. Naruto and Apollo leaned forward unconsciously as well. But then you came in that one council meeting looking so colorful. And you didn't kill anybody for it. You didn't even make a fuss. No songs denouncing your enemy, no secret arrows being launched into the sky, no favors being called in to make the person's life a living hell. It was as if it never happened. At that point, I was definitely interested in just who it could be. Apollo and Naruto stared at Hestia. Then, eyes still fixed on Hestia, Apollo smacked Naruto on the back of the head. Ow! Naruto yelled, grabbing his head. What was that for? Idiot. She only found out about you because of the prank you pulled. Apollo snapped. Hestia laughed. Well, the knowing glance you shared with Artemis during the meeting only strengthened my suspicions. She knew, you knew, and nobody else knew. It was obvious there was a secret between you two. Apollo glared at Naruto. No. Don't you dare. You had slapped me first. It's only fair I get to do it to you. Naruto tried his hardest to smack Apollo, but Apollo's long arms held him away. Curse his height advantage. I admit, it slipped my mind somewhat until earlier today, when I was baking cookies, Hestia smiled while Naruto glared at Apollo with righteous fury. I was experimenting with adding cotton candy, and the pink cotton candy reminded me of your hair during the meeting. Naruto broke out into laughter at the mention of his prank. Oh, that had been a masterpiece. And so I entered this home through the hearth, Hestia continued. And imagine my surprise when I came face to face with Artemis's look-alike. Hold up, Naruto held up his hand confusedly. You appeared through the television, not the hearth. Hestia shrugged. In this day and age, not many people have hearths anymore. Thankfully, the definition extends to anything that symbolizes a home. In your case, it happens to be the television. Apollo and Naruto shared a look of mutual agreement that perhaps they've been spending a little too much time playing video games and watching movies. And now it's my turn to ask the questions, Hestia's expression became deadly serious. Who are you? She directed to Naruto. Naruto looked at Apollo for help. Apollo considered it for a moment. Swear on the river Styx you won't tell anyone else until we allow you. Done. I swear on the river Styx. Thunder boomed off in the distance, signifying the pact being sealed. Apollo nodded to Naruto, giving him the green light. Alright. My name is Naruto and I'm the son of Artemis. Naruto grinned. Nice to meet ya. Hestia's mouth dropped open. She mouthed the words the son of Artemis. She's still a virgin, Apollo hurriedly said. He was born through immaculate means. Essence combination. Hestia breathed a sigh of relief. Thank goodness for that. I was worried for a second. If Artemis suddenly lost her maidenhood as the goddess of maidenhood, chaos would ensue. So is Naruto similar to Athena's children? Pretty much. We don't know who or what the father is, unfortunately. He seems to have disappeared into thin air. Naruto was suddenly very interested in his sandals. No human blood in him? Hestia asked. Apollo hesitated. He doesn't have any Ichir in him. But at the same time, he doesn't have any human blood in him either. He aged rapidly and was born with English and Greek hardwired into his brain. Hestia frowned. Interesting. In any case, I can certainly see why you're keeping him a secret from the other gods. I wouldn't be surprised if they started a vote to blast him out of existence if they found out. Naruto's mouth turned dry. He knew of this already, of course, but it always left a foul taste in his mouth when he realized just how little his family cared for each other. Apollo nodded. A child of Artemis, male no less, would be viewed as an abomination that goes against the natural order. Although to be fair, he is an abomination at times. Hey. Artemis brought him to me and asked me to take care of him the night he was born and he hasn't been out since. That was, what, a year and a half ago? Apollo wondered. Naruto nodded. Yup. Naruto's accelerated aging still unsettled him sometimes. He often forgot since his mind was 17 years old, but he has been born for only a year and a half. Hestia stared incredulously at Apollo. He hasn't been outside, ever. The travesty, I know. He hasn't even ridden in my sun chariot yet, Apollo sighed. Hestia pursed her lips. Then she turned to Naruto and smiled warmly. Hello there, Naruto. My name is Hestia. Naruto returned her smile with a brilliant one of his own. She was the third person goddess he's met so far since being reborn. She was also really friendly. Do you have any cool powers? Hestia grinned. Yup. In fact, I could show you them right now. It's about lunchtime. Are you hungry? Naruto's stomach chose that time to let out a growl. He blushed. Yeah. Speak no further. Lead me to your dining room. They walked past into a room with a small round table with 2 seats facing each other. Let me take care of that, Apollo quickly clapped his hands and a new chair popped into existence. They sat down, Naruto eagerly waiting for the food. As a goddess of family and the home, she had to know how to cook, right? Hestia merely waved her hand and a feast appeared on the table. Roast beef, fried rice, sandwiches, chicken wings, salads. It smelled delicious. Wait. Can you do that for all types of food? Naruto asked urgently. Hestia blinked. I can. Naruto's hands blurred as he clasped Hestia's small hands, staring intently into her wide eyes. Do you know how to make ramen? Hestia stared at him, surprised, before a confident and slightly amused smile took over her face. As a matter of fact, in the time the gods spent in Japan, I mastered my art of cooking both ramen and sushi. Can we have ramen for lunch then? There were stars shining in Naruto's eyes. Hestia laughed. Of course. She waved her hand and the feast on the table was replaced with bowls upon bowls of ramen, each a different recipe. Miso, pork, beef, seafood. They were all there. Naruto inhaled. Exhaled. Heaven. Hestia. I know we've just met. But I think I love you. You're the best. Apollo crossed his arms. You better have meant that as a familial love. Naruto paused, already halfway finished with a bowl. He finished chewing first before shouting, of course it was familial love. Don't be weird like that. Hestia smiled. You know, Apollo proposed to me once. Naruto went still. His chopstick slid out of his hands and clattered onto the floor. He slowly turned his head to stare at Apollo. Apollo grinned sheepishly. Now, before you say anything. You're even worse than Iro-sennin, Naruto whispered. He unconsciously edged away from Apollo. Iro-sennin isn't the super pervert anymore. You are. Boo. No, it doesn't matter. Look, Naruto, gods don't have DNA. It wasn't weird. Don't look at me like that. Why are you looking at me like that? Naruto. Hestia laughed. XXX. It was official. Kagaya sucked. Because so far, all the gods and goddesses Naruto has met were way better than Kagaya. And Hestia may possibly be one of the kindest beings Naruto has ever met. She was awesome. If only it was Hestia who had introduced chakra to the shinobi world. There probably wouldn't even be any shinobi, since everyone would be nice and pleasant to each other. XXX. He's a good kid, Hestia said. Apollo smiled. Oh yeah. It could have been a lot worse. He doesn't have the arrogance of Heracles or the rashness of Theseus or the insecurity of Phaethon. I lucked out with him. Hestia turned on Apollo with a knowing smile. You couldn't refuse Artemis's request to take care of him, could you? Apollo fumbled for a bit before sighing. I was going to refuse at first, but she asked for my help, Hestia. I've never seen her so vulnerable and afraid before. She hid it well, but I know my little sister better than anyone. That's what you do for family, Hestia hummed. So what does she think of him? Apollo froze. Yes. That. Hestia whirled around. What do you mean? Apollo coughed. Well, you see. Artemis hasn't seen him yet since the night she dropped him off. Hestia nodded sadly in understanding. Ah, yes, the ancient laws. Hestia stopped abruptly. She narrowed her eyes. Apollo winced. She figured it out. The ancient laws don't apply to Naruto since there's not a drop of mortal blood in him. Hestia's expression looked as if it was carved from stone. Which means that Artemis hasn't seen Naruto of her own volition. Apollo shrugged helplessly. Yeah. She's choosing to stay away. I can do many things, but controlling Artemis is not one of them. I haven't been able to convince her so far. Hestia was silent for a moment. I'll go talk to her. Apollo backed away slowly. Hestia's aura, normally warm and comforting, was filled with a burning determination. There were flames in her brown eyes, not the harsh explosions that burned in Ares' eyes, but rather the gentle flames found in the hearth. And at that moment, Apollo was reminded of just why Hestia wasn't an average goddess, but rather the eldest Olympian. XXX. Naruto woke up feeling content for once. He didn't have a nightmare that night. When he was first reborn in this world, he had nightmares practically every time he went to sleep. It was understandable, really. Losing his precious people, being in a new world, and the mental scars from the Great Fourth Shinobi War all culminated into a lot of restless nights. But recently, the nightmares were fading. And last night, Naruto didn't have a nightmare at all. Perhaps one reason for that was because of Hestia yesterday. Naruto had been freaked out at first by her appearance, but she was too nice. It had taken all of Naruto's willpower to not call her Hestia Ni-chan. Unfortunately, there weren't any honorifics in English. And she had fed him ramen. Lots and lots of ramen. Naruto's mouth watered at the memory. Her ramen was almost as good as Ichiraku's, maybe even better. This was going to be a good day. Naruto can feel it. Maybe he'll finally beat Apollo in an archery fight, a duel where they only used bows to try and take each other down. Naruto brushed his teeth, took a quick shower, and dressed. He wore long black pants, a black t-shirt, and an orange and black jacket. It was similar to his attire in his teenage years. He still wore black open-toed sandals. Apollo had never understood why Naruto insisted on wearing sandals, but Naruto could never get used to sneakers. They were too confining. Naruto sleepily jumped over the balcony, take stairs, and landed lightly on the floor. He strolled over to the dining room, already planning out what to make for breakfast. Pancakes sounded good. One bad thing about living with Apollo is that he can't cook. At all. So either Naruto cooked or they had takeout. The takeout wasn't bad, since Apollo only got food from 5-star restaurants, but over the years, Naruto has gained an appreciation for home-cooked meals. Most shinobi did after a while. He walked into the dining room. The kitchen was deeper inside. Morning, Apollo, Naruto yawned as he made his way past the sun god's tense form. Morning, Artemis. Naruto took another 3 steps before he froze. Wait. What? He spun around, eyes wide in shock. Artemis sat at the round table. Naruto couldn't move. He couldn't even speak. He could only stand there, staring dumbly at Artemis. Artemis broke the silence after a long uncomfortable moment. How are you, Naruto? Naruto didn't quite know how to respond. XXX. There was a secret that Naruto has never told anyone else before. He likely never will. Naruto Uzumaki had given up on a dream before. He can still recall that one day when Jiji had delivered his monthly living expenses, the question he had asked Jiji. Why don't I have a mom and dad? Once, before he truly even knew what an Hokage was, Naruto had a dream of having parents. He wanted to have a mom who would hug him and say to him welcome home when he came home. He wanted to have a dad who would be proud of him whenever he learned a new jutsu or pulled an awesome prank. But no matter what he did, that dream could not come true. It didn't matter how hard Naruto worked, it didn't matter if Naruto never gave up and if he never ran away. Becoming Hokage was possible. Having everyone accept him was possible. Protecting his precious people was possible. But having a mom and a dad. It was never going to happen. And so, for the first and last time in his life, Naruto had given up on a dream. Because what was the point of having a dream if it would only bring pain and sadness in the end? But then Naruto was reborn. He had been dead and then he was alive in a new world with a fresh start. More importantly, he had a mother. She wasn't a conventional mother, true, but she was his mother. Truth be told, back when Kurama had first told him that Artemis was his mother, Naruto had been speechless. Not from shock. Not from disbelief. It had been from an overwhelming hope. Hope that perhaps this time around, Naruto would finally be able to have a mother who would welcome him home and hug him and scold him and laugh with him and maybe even sometimes laugh at him. His dream, his childhood dream, his first dream, was coming true. But then it hadn't. On the night he had been born, Artemis had left him. She had abandoned him. And she was his mother. She wasn't some nameless villager. She was the one person in the world that should have loved him unconditionally. It hurt. XXX. It was because of her eyes. Naruto had been more than ready to tear into Artemis to make her understand how he feels. He may not punch her physically like he had with Minato, but he's been told that his words can cut deeper than any blade. But then Naruto saw her eyes. Silver. The color of the moon. They were the exact same eyes as his. She was his mother. Did he really want to try to cause her pain? No. Absolutely not. That's not who Naruto is. And so, instead of furiously shouting at Artemis, Naruto simply said one word. Why? Artemis was momentarily caught off guard by his calm tone, but she quickly regained her composure. Naruto, I'm sorry. Why did you leave me all alone? Silver light danced agitatedly on Artemis's skin. I was in a new situation. Gods don't like change, Naruto. When you were born, I had no idea what to do. I was scared that I would somehow mess things up or that something bad would happen. I was never supposed to have a child. It was easy for me to just pretend you didn't exist. Do you hate me? Naruto bluntly asked. Artemis stood up, the chair crashing into the wall behind her. Never. I could never hate you, Naruto. Kurama. I know you're still asleep, but please. Just this once. Help me out here. Kurama didn't reply, but Naruto felt a sense of confirmation. Artemis was telling the truth. Naruto unconsciously relaxed, all the tension and fear that's formed over the last year and a half dissolving away like it was never there. His mother didn't hate him. But just because ignoring you was the easy thing to do doesn't mean it was right. His mother was here. I was wrong. And for that, I'm sorry. She was his mother. What would Jiraiya do? I forgive you. Artemis's silver eyes widened. What? Naruto smiled. I forgive you. The beat. Just like that? Artemis asked incredulously. Naruto nodded. Yup. Even though I abandoned you? Even though I caused you pain? Yes, Naruto shot her a bright genuine smile. Because sometimes, you forgive people simply because you still want them in your lives. Artemis blinked before silently walking up to Naruto, her face impassive. Naruto looked at her warily, unsure of what she would do. Then she did the most shocking and astonishing thing of all. Artemis reached out with her small arms and drew Naruto into a tight hug. Naruto tensed up, his eyes widening. After a second, he relaxed and hugged her back. It felt warm and comforting in her small arms. Naruto breathed in. She smelled good, a combination of fresh air and the forest. And at that moment, Naruto realized just how foolish he had been. Artemis, hate him? How could he possibly have thought that? Hadn't Minato and Kushina taught him that a parent's love is boundless and infinite? Artemis may be a goddess. But she was still a mother, and one thing Naruto had learned from Kushina was that a mother will always love her child. In his loneliness and pain, Naruto had forgotten that fact. It just took Artemis's embrace for him to remember it again. I'm sorry, Naruto, Artemis whispered. It's fine. You're here now. That's all that matters. Just don't leave me again. There were suddenly sniffling sounds in the room. Artemis and Naruto pulled away, confusedly looking at each other. It didn't come from either of them. Then, in unison, they both turned to Apollo, who was sniffling into a handkerchief. It's so beautiful. Mother and son, reunited at long last. Here, let me think of a haiku. Artemis and Naruto stared at Apollo. Just to be clear, Naruto began, I don't forgive you for leaving me with him though. You have no idea how much of his poetry I was subjected to. Artemis shuddered. Oh gods, that must have been terrible. Hey. My poetry isn't bad, why are you two raising your eyebrows at me? Oh wait, you two just raised your eyebrows the exact same way. That was pretty cool. So cool, in fact, that it deserves its own song. Hum with me, Naruto. Artemis led Naruto out of the room, ignoring Apollo's anguished cries. I made breakfast for you. Naruto brightened. Really? You mean fresh good food? Artemis nodded. Yes. I hunted and prepared it myself. Yes. Naruto pumped his fist into the air. 2 days of good food in a row. From what Apollo has told me, you've never been outside of this mansion before, have you? Artemis inquired. Naruto shook his head. Artemis regarded him sadly. You poor child. The wilderness is literally in your blood. To be confined indoors for your entire life. It must have been agonizing. You have no idea, Naruto said with a haunted look. All I want to do is be among the trees again. I haven't been in a forest since the night I was born. As a shinobi of Konoha and a friend of Tenzo, Naruto had gotten used to being surrounded by an endless green. Then it settled. Tonight, we're going out to hunt, Artemis announced. What? Hold up, isn't that dangerous? Artemis smirked. Masking your presence is child's play to a hunter. And besides, I am the goddess of hunting, the wilderness, and the forests. It would be criminal for my child to experience none of them. Naruto stared at her, shocked. Then an excited grin spread across his face. Finally. I've waited for so long. I'm going to be the best hunter you've ever seen, believe it. We'll see. Artemis's expression shifted. Naruto didn't know what it was, but it looked almost regretful. Before that, however, tell me about yourself. I've missed a lot and I know I can never regain that time, but… Naruto smiled understandingly up at her. My name is Naruto. My likes are ramen and my precious people. My dislikes are people who hate others, people who seek revenge, and people who cause others pain. My hobbies are destroying Apollo in video games and taking care of plants. And my dream for the future. Naruto's eyes unfocused. Before, his dream had been to find more precious people, to escape the crushing loneliness. But now. Naruto gave Artemis a beaming smile of joy and hopefulness. I want to get to know and spend time with my mom. XXX. Thank you. I don't know how you convinced her, but thank you. Hestia only smiled mysteriously from where she was tending to the flames. You're welcome, Apollo. I don't understand something though. How did you know that he would forgive her? Apollo tilted his head. Naruto could have hated Artemis. This could have easily backfired. I knew he would forgive her because of one thing. Hestia absently poked at the coals with a stick. What is that? Apollo frowned in confusion. When you left us alone yesterday because you had to go to a musical performance you just couldn't miss. It was my son's first violin recital. Hestia paused, looking at Apollo in surprise. Oh. I didn't know. Yeah. You're a great dad, Apollo. Apollo grinned, but his eyes were a bit sad. Thank you. Anyways, continue. Well, after you had left, Naruto showed me some papers. Apollo thought back to a few months ago when he caught Naruto hiding some papers from his view. At the time, he had thought it was just bait to lure him into a trap. But apparently it was actually something legitimate. Which meant, when Naruto had smirked at him. Had Naruto been bluffing? That little scoundrel. If Apollo didn't know any better, he'd swear that Naruto was a son of Hermes. And what he had written on those papers is the reason why I knew he would forgive Artemis, Hestia continued. She smiled. After all, you can't possibly seize peace in this world if you can't even forgive your own mother. Apollo blinked. Say what now? Asked Naruto. I won't betray his confidence. Hestia's eyes narrowed slightly, as if daring Apollo to try and make her. Apollo considered it for a moment before dropping the idea. He wouldn't do that to Hestia. Alright. I need to go find out what he had written on those papers. Apollo's hands twitched. He also needed to teach Naruto yet another lesson about exactly why small insignificant children shouldn't con gods. You do that? Apollo turned to leave, but then thought of something. Hey, you think my poetry is good, right? Hestia coughed lightly. Oh. Yes. Of course. Apollo grinned. I'll take that as a yes. Chapter 3. A goddess captured. Then I beat Apollo 20 times in a row with Pikachu. I am the very best, like no one ever was. Naruto's victorious grin morphed into a scowl. He went sulking for hours afterwards, though, and then cursed me to talk in rhyme for a whole week. Artemis raised an eyebrow. That does sound like my brother. And they weren't even good rhymes. They sucked. Naruto looked down at the deer meat he was eating. It was good. Perfectly seasoned, with a hint of smoke. Combined with an apple and a freshly baked loaf of bread, it was the ideal meal for a growing shinobi. It was also the very first meal his mother had cooked for him. Naruto had never eaten something so delicious before. They were inside Naruto's room. It was bare. The walls were a soft orange. There was a bed and a desk. And that was it. Apollo had tried to give Naruto posters of his own grinning godly face once, but Naruto had refused. Vehemently. Okay, but for real though. Apollo might be annoying sometimes, but he's a great uncle. Probably the best uncle I could ask for, Naruto grinned. I'm glad you left me with him and not with your dad. Artemis tried to imagine Naruto living with Zeus. She couldn't help it. She let out a laugh. Now that would be hilarious. Naruto was so bright and cheerful, and Zeus was. Zeus. Not a great combination. Naruto suddenly focused intently on Artemis, who gazed at him curiously. I almost forgot. You didn't introduce yourself yet. Artemis frowned. I did. I am Artemis, the goddess of the wilderness, the hunt, the moon, the forests. No, not like that. For a second, Naruto's eyes glazed over, lost in memories. I'm talking about your name, your likes, your dislikes, your hobbies, and your dream for the future. You know, a classic introduction. Artemis blinked. Oh. In which case, my name is Artemis. My likes are hunting and being with my hunters. My dislikes are Apollo when he's annoying, men who act like idiots, and people who taint the forests. My hobby is archery, and my dream for the future. I haven't really thought about it. Naruto tilted his head. You haven't really thought about it? Artemis shrugged. What dream would a goddess have? Naruto opened his mouth to speak but then hesitated. What dream would a goddess have? Huh. Fair enough. Indeed, Artemis's eyes gained a slightly amused glint. I must say, I'm rather impressed by what you did to Apollo during that one council meeting. Naruto gave a foxy smirk. Is that so? And were the other gods also impressed? Hermes wishes to shake your hand, Artemis confided. Although I am curious. How did you manage to prank Apollo? The combination of trickery, deceit and planning, Naruto said. He never expected it. And how did you make it so that the dye and glitter and marker would stay on Apollo's being? Artemis asked. He could have just changed forms or vanished the color. Did I mention the planning part? And suddenly, Naruto looked downright devious. We had a tournament a few months before and the winner was allowed to give the loser one command. I won and I kept the command in reserve until the perfect opportunity presented itself. Artemis frowned. I can't imagine Apollo holding up his end of the agreement. It was enforced by the sticks. Artemis paused. You're good. I know, Naruto grinned. They chewed contentedly, falling into a comfortable silence. I'm amazed, Naruto, Artemis said after a while. Naruto glanced over, confused. Huh? Amazed at what? Artemis smiled at him. Your capacity to forgive others. I had not expected this when I came here today. Naruto looked away, slightly embarrassed at the praise. Oh, thanks. Artemis nodded. Indeed. I mean, it's not that amazing or anything, Naruto said modestly, rubbing the back of his head. And besides, I wanted to forgive you, you know. You did? Artemis looked genuinely confused. Naruto stared at her. Of course. We're family. You're my mother. Artemis regarded Naruto for a few moments. I can see why Hestia likes you. You've spoken to Hestia about me? Naruto asked in shock. She was the one that convinced me to come today, Artemis admitted. Naruto's eyes widened. Then he smiled. Hestia is awesome. She is. XXX. The day passed by quickly, with Naruto filling Artemis in everything that's happened so far in his life. Soon, the sun began to set and the moon began to rise into the night sky. Artemis stared out the window, waiting patiently for the sun to finish setting. Unfortunately, she was the only patient being in the room. Can we go yet? Naruto whined. No. Is it time yet? No. Now? No. How about? Naruto. Shut up. Naruto obeyed although he didn't stop the incessant tapping of his foot. Artemis eyed. Perhaps motherhood would be slightly more difficult than she had thought. Although, looking down at Naruto, who could barely contain his excitement at finally being able to leave the mansion, reunite with the forest, hunt under the moon, and, above all, spend time with her. Artemis smiled. Motherhood may be difficult but then again, nothing good in life comes easy. XXX. When you said that you would conceal my presence. Naruto's eyes twitched. I thought that you would pull out some ancient arcane magic. Artemis tilted her head. Technically, this is ancient magic. The particular spell I used is several thousand years old. That's not the point. Naruto snapped. Artemis frowned. Is there a problem? Yeah. Naruto gestured at himself. Auburn hair, silver eyes, whisker marks on the cheek. Perfectly normal. What wasn't normal, however, was the length of his hair or the feminine features he had. There was also something missing between his legs. Why am I a girl? Isn't it obvious? While we are in the mansion, you are completely shielded from detection. However, I cannot replicate the mansion's effect out in the wilderness without expending an immense amount of energy that the gods will notice, Artemis explained. I'd rather not actively draw attention to us. Huh? Artemis tapped her fingers against her thigh. Think of it like this. The problem here isn't that the gods will somehow magically sense your presence the moment you step outside the doors. Otherwise, Dahlia Grace would have been discovered the day she ran away. No, the problem is that you look so similar to me, any god that happens to glance down at us will instantly know you are my son. That still doesn't explain why I'm a girl. The best way to prevent discovery is to hide in plain sight. Which is going to look more suspicious. A young boy shrouded in mist and magic or a young girl that is most likely one of my hunters. We just need to get you some colored contact lenses and you look just like one of my hunters. Naruto nodded slowly. That actually made perfect sense. It wasn't that Naruto was opposed to looking like a girl. He used the sexy no jutsu all the time and he felt no shame in doing so. He was opposed to genuinely being a girl though. He could dispel the sexy no jutsu. He couldn't with this. He was a man, damn it. Of course, I'll still mask your demigod smell then Artemis smiled amusedly. Besides, I think I prefer it when you're a girl. No. Naruto shouted. I'm a guy. You're going to change me back into a boy after this, right? Artemis smirked. We'll see. "Mom?" Naruto cried in protest. Artemis froze. Naruto looked at her confusedly. What was the matter? Oh. That was the first time that Naruto had called Artemis mom. Naruto began hesitantly, am I allowed to call you mom? Is it too casual for a goddess? I mean, if you don't like it, I can always call you mother or even Lady Artem. No, Artemis said softly. Mom is fine. Alright, Naruto smiled, unconsciously tucking a strand of hair behind his ear. They stood there in silence for a second looking at each other, both still new to the situation. Wait. Naruto's head whipped to stare at his hand, mystified. Had he just tucked a strand of hair behind his ear? Did I just perform an entirely girl action? I believe you did, Artemis confirmed. I'm already being affected, Naruto breathed in horror. He quickly brought the strand of hair back to where it was, then ran his hand through his hair to make it messy for good measure. Come along now, child. It's time for the hunt, Artemis turned around and began walking through the halls. You shall remain a girl for now. It would be impossible for me to allow you to venture outside otherwise. But you can't, you know what, fine. Naruto quickly caught up to her, falling into step. This was the same as the sexy no jutsu, he chanted. This was the same as the sexy no jutsu. Except that, unlike the sexy no jutsu, Naruto was actually a girl. Don't blink, Artemis instructed. Haga. Naruto brought his hand up to rub at his eyes, but Artemis grabbed his wrist. Don't rub at it either, Artemis warned. I just materialize colored contact lenses in your eyes and you don't want them to end up in the back of your skull. Naruto stilled immediately. Can that happen? Artemis shrugged. Probably. I don't see why not. I've never used these before. They're one of Apollo's creations. Say no more, Naruto gingerly lowered his hand. Artemis reached the mansion door. She turned around, facing Naruto. Are you prepared? I was born prepared, Naruto grinned. Technically, he was. After all, he was reborn with all of his memories and shinobi skills intact. And there's not much more prepared you can get. That's the spirit, Artemis opened the door and stepped out, beckoning Naruto to come after her. Naruto hesitantly took a step forward. And another step. And another. And finally, for the first time in a year and a half, he was outside again. He breathed in fresh air, basking under the moonlight. Artemis was watching him with a small smile on her face. How does it feel to be out at last? It feels awesome, Naruto whispered. But at the same time, he felt a small pang of guilt and regret. Naruto had been confined for a year and a half indoors. Kurama had been confined for nearly a century, from Mito to Kushina, and finally to Naruto. Was this how it had felt for Kurama? For all the Bijuu? To be trapped inside their Jinchuriki, never breathing in any fresh air, wishing desperately to get out and be free. And not only that, Kurama had willingly stayed inside Naruto. Kurama had given up all of this to remain by Naruto's side and be Naruto's partner. Naruto's appreciation for Kurama suddenly grew tenfold. Naruto resolved to hug Kurama the moment he woke up, whether Kurama wanted to or not. Then let's go. With that, Artemis blurred, sprinting away and melting into the shadows. She's fast. Chakra pumped through Naruto's body as he sprinted behind Artemis. She stuck to the shadows, and half the times Naruto could barely see her, instead relying on his other senses. Which was probably the point, Naruto realized. She's keeping to the shadows to minimize the chances of discovery. Good idea. Naruto retraced Artemis's path, copying all of her movements. Where she stepped, he stepped. Where she jumped, he jumped. She was showing him the optimal route for maximum stealth, and Naruto was going to follow it. Within a minute, they were in the forest. Naruto gasped, feeling a sudden rush of energy. He focused within himself. Ever since he was reborn, he could sense two energies inside of him. One was chakra. The other was whatever he had received from Artemis. Up until this moment, the energy had laid dormant within him, almost as if it hadn't met the prerequisites of awakening. But now, it was thrumming with power, vibrating happily. Under the moon, in the forest, out in the wilderness. Naruto felt alive. Experimentally, Naruto tried to manipulate the energy. It still didn't feel fully awakened. He tried to channel and direct the flow like he did with chakra, drawing it out from the source and circulating it through his body. His perception of the world exploded. Naruto's senses sharpened exponentially. Sight, hearing, smell. It felt like the first time Naruto had entered Sage mode, only better. Naruto looked around in wonder, suddenly hyper-aware of everything in the forest, from the tiny spider that was lazily weaving a web to the gurgling of the rushing stream. Everything in the forest, every cracked twig, every indentation, every small detail that Naruto would have ignored before now told Naruto a story of what had been there, where they had been, and where they had gone. How is it? Artemis had turned around and was now casually leaping backwards. I can sense everything. Naruto grinned in exuberation. I can see everything. Then tell me. What does that tell you? Artemis pointed down at a small depression in the ground. A partial print. Virtually invisible. To Naruto, however, the information it held was as clear as day. Rabbit. Fully mature, though a little bit on the light side. Traveled forward to that bush, then shifted directions and headed about 24 degrees to the left for about 12 meters. Stood still next to that raspberry bush before heading north. Naruto didn't know how he knew these things. It just popped into his mind instinctively. Observation, analysis, and conclusion all took place in a split second without any conscious thought. Intuition, taken to the next level. Was this what it meant to be half-god? Not bad. Artemis halted abruptly, dropping down and landing without a sound. Naruto jumped down next to her. How does this work? Naruto asked excitedly. Artemis smiled. I am the goddess of the wilderness, the forests, and the hunt. As my child, you may not have as flashy powers as a child of Zeus, but make no mistake. Heightened senses and an intuition that approaches divination can be as powerful as any lightning bolt. I'd take this over lightning bolts any day, especially since lightning bolts were Sasuke's thing. They are rather overrated, Artemis agreed. Naruto opened his mouth but then shut it in wonder when he noticed something. I can see a feather stuck to a branch 30 feet ahead of us, and at the same time, I somehow know of the owl that just took flight about 180 feet behind us without looking at it. I didn't hear it, I didn't see it, I just somehow knew. Artemis nodded. As I said. You possess an intuition that approaches the level of divination. It is what mortals would call a sixth sense. Can you punch me real quick? Artemis blinked. I'm sorry. Oh, I want to test something out. Please. I'll dodge it, promise. Naruto eagerly stood there, awaiting to be hit. Very well, then. Artemis's hand whipped out to strike Naruto's head, but Naruto was already out of the way, having started moving before the attack even happened. I sensed your attack before it even started, Naruto looked amazed. Yup. That would be the intuition at work, Artemis affirmed. Naruto could draw many parallels between this and Sage Mode. They weren't the same. Sage Mode was powered by nature chakra, whereas this was powered internally by the divinity within Naruto, but they were still scarily similar. I must say, I was rather surprised that you kept up with me during our journey here. Your speed and agility was exceptional, Artemis complimented. As expected of my child. Please don't say that, Naruto hurriedly interrupted. Why? It makes you sound like an Uchiha. Artemis frowned. What is an Uchiha? It's a thing in a video game. Just. Please don't ever say as expected of my child or HN. Naruto begged. Very well, Artemis gave him a confused look but didn't push further. Where is your bow? Naruto didn't respond. Naruto? Naruto turned to Artemis with a sheepish grin. I may have, I forgot to bring my bow. Artemis stared. You forgot. Hey, in my defense, I was really excited, okay? Bringing equipment had completely slipped his mind. Artemis eyed. Then she flicked her hand and another silver bow appeared. Here, you can use this. Naruto took the bow, weighing it in his hand. He tested the string before nodding in satisfaction. It was a good bow. Thanks. I need arrows too. The bow is magical. Just pull back on the string. Naruto pulled back the bowstring and a silver arrow automatically appeared. Okay, now that's cool. Alright, so what are we hunting? There's a. Hold on a second, Naruto held up his hand. I have to do something first. XXX. In the history of the elemental nations, there was hatred. Rivalries and enmity between nations have been around since almost the beginning. One such enmity existed between Konoha and Iwa, stemming from decades of hostility and outright hatred. Even in times of relative peace, the hatred did not fade away, instead simmering with a cold rage. However, Konoha and Iwa couldn't display their hatred for each other with normal methods, namely killing, torturing, burning, looting, and pillaging. Those were generally frowned upon during peacetime. But name-calling? That was fair game. Konoha shinobi referred to Iwa shinobi as rockheads to suggest that, instead of brains, they had rocks for head. An insult to their intelligence and wisdom. Iwa shinobi, on the other hand, referred to Konoha shinobi as tree huggers to suggest that Konoha shinobi were weak and, instead of spending their spare time honing their skills, they hugged trees. And tonight, for possibly the first time in shinobi history, tree hugger stopped being an insult and instead became a fact. Artemis watched on confusedly as Naruto walked up to a tree, gazed reverently up at it, then gave it a crushing hug. I've missed you, holy log. XXX. The target is a deer. Your objective is to strike her down before dawn. My objective? Aren't you also hunting tonight? Naruto frowned. Artemis shook her head. For now, I'll simply observe. I wish to see your skills and abilities. Got it, Naruto closed his eyes, reaching out with his senses. So, which deer is it? Is it the one about 240 meters to the left? Negative. The one standing next to the. I don't even know that plant's name. The one with the sharp spiky leaves. Negative. Is it the one drinking from the stream about 80 feet ahead of us? Affirmative. Naruto opened his eyes, grinning. This will be easy. Forget about striking her down before dawn. I'll do it in less than an hour. Artemis's eyes narrowed. Is that so? Definitely. It's a deer. It can't fight back. What is it supposed to do? Naruto focused intently on the deer. Slowly, the world around him became muted until only Naruto, Artemis, and the deer existed. Everything else became inconsequential, insignificant. Let the hunt begin. In less than a second, Naruto crossed a distance, an arrow already nocked and aimed to fire. He let it loose, watching in satisfaction as it streaked towards the deer's head, and then the deer blurred out of existence, leaving behind distinct afterimages. What the hell just happened? Naruto turned his head to see the deer already a solid 100 feet away. It seemed to be glaring at him. It will be easy, Artemis stood next to Naruto, observing his reaction. That is not an ordinary deer. The deer in question had already stopped glaring at Naruto and was instead bending down and nibbling at something on the ground. Naruto's hands twitched. Was the deer ignoring him? No, it most certainly is not, Artemis tilted her head. So, what shall you do now? Naruto's answer came in the form of him jumping straight up and onto the branch of the tree. It trembled under his weight but didn't crack. He shot several more silver arrows at the deer, eyes narrowing when the deer dodged them all effortlessly. This may actually be difficult. Time to mix up his strategy. Naruto shot 3 arrows directly up before shooting another 3 arrows in rapid succession. The first arrow reached the deer, who sidestepped to the left straight into the path of the second arrow. It couldn't dodge to the right again because Naruto's third arrow would hit it. It couldn't go backwards, and going forwards was out of the question. The only option was to dodge to the left again, where it will then be trapped by the 3 arrows Naruto had shot directly upwards and was now making its way down in a triangle formation. Naruto smiled victoriously. He had won. Now all he had to do was to wait for the deer to dodge to the left, and then. The deer dashed forward, bending its legs and sliding on the ground, the second arrow passing harmlessly over its head. Then it instantly stood up again and cocked its head at Naruto, as if asking him. Is that all you've got? Was the deer taunting him? Not bad, Artemis sat in the branch in the tree besides his. You tried to predict where the deer would dodge. But the deer can read the trajectories of my arrows. It knows where the arrow will end up and it's fast enough so it will be able to dodge every time. Naruto tapped his fingers against the bow, deep in thought. Which means. Naruto shot 3 arrows at the deer once more, who faced Naruto defiantly. Naruto could see the deer tense up in preparation to dodge then relax when it became clear that all 3 arrows wouldn't even come close to hitting it. The deer glanced at Naruto skeptically, as if saying. Dude, seriously? Naruto smirked. He could never have done this back in his old body, but now, Naruto was able to pull off some Itachi-level projectile attacks. The first arrow flew upwards in an arc where the second arrow intercepted it, knocking the first arrow downwards right into the third arrow, skewing its path sideways to ricochet off of a rock on the ground and upwards to the deer's underbelly. The arrow neared the deer, getting closer and closer, and then the deer vanished again in a burst of speed, the arrow hitting nothing but air. What? That's actually dumb. Ricocheting arrows to mask both their trajectories and final targets. I must say, I'm impressed, Artemis commented. The deer is still fast enough to react in time and dodge the arrows though, Naruto gritted his teeth. He sent several more arrows ricocheting off of trees and rocks, hoping to strike the deer. They all missed. Even Itachi would have difficulty hitting this thing. The deer stood tall and proud, staring down Naruto with its intelligent eyes. Its antlers wait. Antlers? Naruto had been focused more on its smug expression. His eyes hadn't moved upwards to look at the top of the deer's head at all this entire night, almost as if there was an invisible force stopping him. Even now, he could barely see what was on top of the deer's head. Genjutsu? Or something equivalent to it. The moment he realized that, the illusion lifted, revealing large golden antlers sitting on top of the deer's head. Its hooves were bronze. That was probably the most expensive deer in the world. Naruto blinked. Dispelling that illusion was infinitely easier than dispelling a genjutsu. He didn't even need to stab himself. That's not just a deer. That's a hind, the Serenian hind. Naruto whirled around to staring incredulously at Artemis. You sent me to hunt the Serenian hind on my first hunt. Artemis inclined her head. What better way to gain an understanding of your skills and personality than watching you hunt an unhuntable prey? Unhuntable? Naruto frowned. Didn't Heracles capture her once? Heracles? Naruto edged away slowly from Artemis as she began to literally radiate danger. I was under orders from father to temporarily lift my blessings and allow that scum to capture her. Oh. That, wasn't in the myths. I would think not. There are many important things missing from Heracle's myth. Artemis took a deep breath. When she exhaled, she was calm again. Do me a favor, Naruto, and never ever end up like Heracles. I won't, Naruto assured. Heracles had a terrible madness, having beaten his own teacher to death over the head with a lyre. Even Naruto didn't kill anyone when he was in hatred Kyuubi form. He turned to the deer, who was watching him smugly, every so often turning her head so that Naruto could admire her antlers from all directions. Unhuntable, huh? So I was never meant to capture her or kill her. Artemis nodded. Indeed. I apologize for the deception, but it was the best way for me to see the full extent of your skills. If you knew it was an impossible task from the beginning, I do not think you would have tried as hard. Yeah, it's fine. At least you didn't toss me off a cliff or anything, Naruto coughed lightly. Right. Artemis gave him a confused look but didn't ask. In any case, let us begin the hunt for real. I have stockpiled some. No, Naruto narrowed his eyes. Excuse me? No. I said that I would take down the hind in less than an hour. I gave you my word and I never go back on my word. Unquenching flames of determination roared to life. Naruto. Do you know what unhuntable means? It means it cannot be hunted, Artemis explained dryly. I don't care, Naruto brought his hands together in a familiar cross-shaped seal. I don't quit. I don't run. And I never give up. Artemis eyed. Well, that's good and all, but I'm afraid it's futile too. Page Bunshin no Jutsu. Artemis's eyes widened in shock. It was like the night he had fought against Mizuki. Clones appeared on every available surface. On the branches, standing parallel to the ground on trees, on the ground. Countless numbers of clones, each with a bow in their hands and an arrow drawn. The Serenian hind drew back, startled at the sudden multiples of Naruto. It quickly turned around, only to be met with another wall of clones. The hind was completely surrounded on all sides. Alright, listen up, you stupidly fast hind. I'm going to say this once, and only once. Naruto strolled forward, a veritable army of clones behind him. You have one chance to surrender unconditionally. If you do so, I give you my word that you shall not be harmed. If you do not, then. We'll see if you can outrun all of these arrows. To accentuate his point, all of his clones knocked another 5 arrows into their bows, bringing the grand total to 6. The hind nervously stepped back, head twitching wildly side to side, as if scanning for a way to get out. You're surrounded on all sides. And, in case you're thinking of simply charging and bulldozing past us with your overwhelming speed. Naruto's eyes took on a dangerous glint. I assure you, in terms of close combat, you won't even stand a chance. The hind tilted its head at Naruto challengingly. Naruto simply smiled. By all means, go ahead and try it. You think you're fast. You haven't seen speed yet. The hind turned to look at Artemis for help, who was still staring at all the clones in astonishment and disbelief. She can't help you here, Naruto smiled dangerously. Besides, she's already allowed you to be captured once. Who's to say that she won't let it happen again? Are you willing to take that gamble? Naruto clapped his hands together in triumph. Surrender now, and you shall be spared. You have 3 seconds. 3. The hind stared at Naruto. 2. The hind looked unsure. 1. Naruto raised his hand and the clones prepared to fire. The hind dropped down to the ground, reluctantly bowing its head. A clear sign of surrender. Naruto smiled. Success. What are those? Artemis spoke up, shock and confusion evident in her voice. They're my clones, Naruto said. Duh. He winced internally. Duh. Watching those movies had been a mistake. Clones? Artemis repeated. Okay. How did you form these clones? I have this energy within me, you know. So I just kinda shaped it and my clones appeared. Technically, that was the truth. It must have come from your father's side, Artemis muttered. Naruto. Answer me truthfully. Have you been in contact with your father at all? No, Naruto answered. He refused to acknowledge Kurama as his dad. His father was Minato Namikaze and Naruto hasn't seen him since Kagaya was defeated and Naruto died. I see, Artemis stared intently at Naruto for a second before relaxing. Well then. That's an interesting power. Clones of yourself. Naruto grinned. They're awesome, right? Oh, that reminds me. The clones dispelled all at once, releasing a fog of chakra smoke. So, did I do good or did I do good? Naruto crossed his arms, pleased with himself. You did surprisingly good, Artemis looked at the hind still on the ground, who stared mournfully back up at her. Your strategy was unexpected. I know, right? See, I knew that I couldn't outright hunt the deer. That would never work since it's protected by your divine blessing. Negotiating its surrender, on the other hand, wouldn't negate the blessing. A surrender coerced or otherwise isn't covered by the blessing's power, Naruto explained. Impressive, Artemis walked forward, bending down next to the hind. Instead of trying to fight my blessing head-on and failing miserably like so many others had, you circumvented it entirely by creating a new plan that didn't require any violence at all, aside from verbal threats. Yup. You're not mad, right? Naruto asked worriedly. Gods and goddesses tended to get offended easily, Naruto remembered belatedly, and it would suck if Artemis became mad at him. Mad? Of course not, Artemis tapped the deer on the top of its head. It nodded before disappearing once more in a burst of speed. Naruto's senses could barely keep up with it. You displayed human ingenuity and creativity to take down your foe. Why would I be mad? Naruto wasn't entirely sure how to answer. Artemis understood. I'm not like the other gods, Naruto. As long as you don't outright disrespect me, then we're good. Naruto let out a sigh of relief. Understood. Although, out of curiosity, if you did reach 0, would you have shot at her? Artemis awaited Naruto's answer, intrigued. Naruto smirked. Nope. It was just a bluff, a con, and a negotiation. If the hind didn't surrender, then I would have just let her go. Artemis stared at Naruto incredulously. Then she laughed. I can see how you managed to prank Apollo. Well played, Naruto. Well played. XXX. After that, hunting the monsters Artemis had stockpiled was a little too easy. So easy, in fact, that after watching Naruto make a clean kill while yawning, Artemis created a new rule. Naruto. From now on, you're only allowed to shoot at my arrows to kill the prey. Wait, what? And so, Artemis would fire randomly in all directions, and it was up to Naruto to shoot arrows at her arrows to alter the trajectory so that it would hit the moving target. Slightly more difficult. Hey, who's better at archery, you or Apollo? Naruto asked while firing 2 arrows in quick succession. The first arrow bounced off of a tree and struck Artemis's arrow, knocking it straight into Naruto's second arrow, which sent Artemis's arrow right into the skull of the small bird that had a sharp iron beak. It disintegrated into dust. Naruto smiled in satisfaction. That was definitely Itachi-level projectile mastery. I am, of course, Artemis said dismissively. Just because he's the god of archery, everyone automatically assumes he's the better one. They're all wrong. That's what I thought. XXX. The moment Naruto stepped out of the forest, he stumbled as his state of perfect awareness faded away. I feel blind, Naruto mourned, looking down at the ground. Information no longer instinctively sprang to life in his mind. He was completely cut off. How do you get used to this? Artemis hummed. Give it some time. XXX. So, how was it, Naruto? Why are you a girl? Apollo's welcoming grin shifted into a perplexed expression. To hide in plain sight, Naruto grumbled. Speaking of which, Naruto turned to Artemis. Now that we're back in the mansion, can you turn me back please? Artemis hesitated. Are you sure? I really like the girl you. Yeah, I'm sure. Naruto was a man, damn it. Very well, Artemis sighed. She waved her hand and Naruto glowed silver for a moment. Then it died down, revealing Naruto as a boy once more. Thank you, Naruto plucked out the contact lenses, which promptly dematerialized. To be honest, I kinda preferred it when you were a girl as well, Apollo chimed in. You seemed softer and more demure. Apollo, continue speaking and I'll tell Artemis about what happened on the night. Apollo shut up immediately. You swore you would never speak of it ever again. Try me. Apollo shot Naruto a scathing glare but still shut up. Artemis watched them both inquisitively. In any case, does Apollo know about your cloning skills? Cloning skills? Apollo asked. Do elaborate. Kage Bunshin no Jutsu. A Kage Bunshin popped into existence next to Naruto. Apollo immediately stepped forward and bent down, examining the clone. How did you do this? I have this energy within me that I personally call chakra. I can mold and shape it into a clone of myself, although it will dispel after a single punch. Naruto delivered this pre-rehearsed line without blinking an eye. Chakra? Like the Indian thing. Apollo scrutinized the clone before punching it in the head. It dispelled, releasing a puff of chakra smoke. No, not the Indian thing. I just named it that, Naruto shrugged. I have no idea what it is. What else can you do with this chakra? Apollo gazed at Naruto with a clinical expression. Naruto shifted. I can, create a ball of destruction. Apollo blinked. You can do what now? Naruto opened his hand and a spiraling blue ball formed. I call it the Rasengan. I condense my chakra and spin it around and, depending on the power input, it can either blow someone back or tear right through their body. Hit me with it, Apollo offered. I want to test it out. Naruto grinned. It's a deal. Then, before Apollo could take it back, Naruto slammed the Rasengan into Apollo's gut. There may have been some repressed anger contained in the Rasengan. Because banning Raymond for a week was pure blasphemy. Apollo grunted from the blow, exhaling sharply. Oh man. That actually hurts. The Rasengan fizzled out of existence, leaving Apollo with a hole in his shirt and light scratches on his 8-pack. Whoa. Naruto had put enough chakra into that Rasengan to blow a hole through concrete. Apollo was definitely a god. How powerful was it? Artemis stepped forward and examined the wound, if it can even be called that, on Apollo's stomach. It's around the level of one of Ares' angry punches reinforced with his flaming brass knuckles, Apollo estimated. If I hadn't been bracing my stomach with healing magic, it probably would have made me bleed a little. What else do you have? Artemis had now taken Naruto's hand and was inspecting it, as if looking for an aftertrace or residue. She poked the center of his palm, then sniffed it. Okay then. Those two are the only techniques I've discovered so far. Naruto didn't want to reveal anything else yet. Apollo snapped his fingers in revelation. This chakra must also be the thing that renders you immune to diseases. Probably, yeah. Just keep safe, Naruto. If using it ever harms you, inform either Apollo or me immediately. We're dealing with the unknown here, Artemis cautioned. Apollo nodded. If you ever deteriorate physically or mentally with no reason, do not keep it a secret. Come to me right away. Naruto felt slightly guilty about causing them to worry, but not enough to tell them the truth. His reincarnation is a secret he'll take to his grave. Got it. Don't worry, though. It feels fine whenever I use it. That is good. Artemis looked out the window, where the first rays of sunshine were appearing. My hunters will be wondering where I am. I'm afraid I have to take my leave. Naruto looked down. Oh. You're leaving already? Yes, Artemis hesitated for a moment. I confess I do not know the norms of a mother saying goodbye to her child. The hug would work, Naruto suggested hopefully. The hug would be nice, Artemis agreed. Naruto stepped up and hugged Artemis once more. A pleasant warmth surrounded him. Hugs, Naruto decided, were even better than ramen. Sadly, all good things must come to an end. After a while, Artemis gently pulled away from Naruto. Farewell, Naruto. Naruto grinned. See ya. Apollo waved goodbye. I'll keep him out of trouble. And Artemis, with one last look over her shoulder, walked out the mansion door. Naruto and Apollo stood there in silence for a moment. So? How was it? Apollo finally asked. Naruto smiled. I've never been happier. Hey, where's Hestia? I have to thank her. Ah. That reminds me, Apollo narrowed his eyes at Naruto and held out his hand. The papers I caught you with a few months ago. Give it. Naruto brightened. That's right. I almost forgot. Here, let me get it real quick. Apollo blinked, surprised at Naruto's enthusiasm. You're not going to keep it a secret. Deny its existence. Create a diversion to buy you time to destroy the evidence. Nope. Naruto quickly went into his room and grabbed the stack of papers. Apollo followed him in, looking around Naruto's room. I still feel like the walls are a little too bare. Just one poster of my smiling face. I promise it'll lighten up your day. Naruto thrust the stack of papers into Apollo's hands to shut him up. Apollo read the words on the top of the page. The Tale of the Utterly Gutsy Shinobi. Naruto grinned. It's a book I wrote. Naruto had read the original book enough times to nearly memorize it. Translating the words into English had been difficult, but Naruto managed it. And, just so it wouldn't be complete plagiarism, he even continued the plot, adding an entire section. Apollo leafed through the papers, skimming through the lines. It's about a ninja who tries to bring peace in the world, Naruto summarized. He met someone who had once been just as idealistic as he was, but slowly grew bitter and cynical of the world because of the pain he's experienced. But then the hero convinces the villain that peace can still be achieved and they all live happily ever after. And the hero's name is Nagato. Yup, Naruto wasn't going to name the hero Naruto. That would be in bad taste. And, well, the original book had been based off of Nagato, so it's only fair he named the hero Nagato. And the villain's name is Pain. Yeah, because the thing that had killed Nagato's dream had been pain. Nagato and pain. Do you like it? Naruto shyly asked. He had kept this a secret from Apollo at first because he wasn't sure if it was good or not. Even now, countless edits later, he still wasn't sure if Apollo would enjoy it. Writing was scary. Naruto had acted confident when he grabbed the stack of papers to show Apollo, but on the inside, he was a quivering mess. It was odd, really. Naruto had fought and defeated a literal goddess before. He had had countless brushes with death. But now, standing in front of Apollo, anxiously waiting for feedback on his novel, he was scared. From what I've seen so far, it's good, Apollo complimented. I like it. Naruto smiled. Wow. I did it. Thank you. I'll send this over to Muse's Publishing, have them make it a book. Naruto's eyes widened. Wait, you're going to publish it? Of course, Apollo snapped his fingers and the stack of papers vanished in a flash of golden light. There. It's on their desk now. They'll have the edited version ready in about a month or so. Naruto sat back on his bed, stunned. It wasn't ready yet. Apollo waved his hand dismissively. Oh please. I saw the look in your eyes. It'll probably never be ready if you had it your way. Stop fearing about failure, man up, and just show it to the world. Don't worry, you'll thank me later. But Naruto spluttered before sighing. You know what? I'll do it. That's the spirit, Apollo cheered. Just one thing, and this is non-negotiable, Naruto narrowed his eyes, grim and resolute. Yeah? Do you want a cut of the pay? Apollo pulled out a calculator from nowhere, inputting some numbers. I'll try to get you 37%. What? I'm getting 90% at the very least. Naruto shook his head. But no, that's not what I want. I want this book published under a pseudonym. I can arrange that. What do you want the pseudonym to be? Naruto smiled, lost in happy memories. Jiraiya. XXX. Hestia grunted as something slammed into her. It took her a second to realize that Naruto was hugging her. Thank you. Thank you so much, he whispered. Hestia smiled and patted his back gently. You're welcome. XXX. 1 year, 7 months after. Apollo, can you teach me how to manipulate the mist? Naruto had never been able to get the hang of Jinjutsu simply because of his abysmal chakra control. But perhaps with the mist, his luck would be different. Manipulate the mist. Apollo looked up from the poetry he was writing. Naruto resolved to discreetly burn it later for the betterment of the world. It's simple. Just snap your fingers and force your will onto a mortal and the mist will take care of the rest. What do you mean? The mist is mostly automatic, Apollo clarified. You just need to point it in a certain direction, give it commands, and it'll do the rest on its own. Huh. So you don't need to shape it or anything. Nope. It's just your will and mental fortitude. Of course, it's simpler to manipulate the mist when trying to make a person believe what they want to believe, so there's less resistance, but it's not necessary, Apollo shrugged. It's not that hard. Huh. And what about seeing through the mist? Naruto didn't want to be surprised again like he had with the Serenian hind. At least that time, nothing had happened. But next time, it may not be antlers that were shrouded in illusion, but instead a lethal, vicious monster. Awareness, Apollo held up his hand. What do you see? Naruto stared. Your hand. Look again, Apollo commanded. I have a diamond ring on my thumb. Naruto blinked. Sure enough, there was a diamond ring on Apollo's thumb. Wait. It hadn't been there before. The illusion lifted, revealing Apollo's bare hand once more. Comprehension dawned on Naruto. I understand. I knew that there was nothing on your hand, and since I knew, the mist didn't work. It lifted the moment I realized that there was nothing on your hand. Apollo nodded. In other words, be constantly aware of everything. If there are huge mortals grinning at you, they probably aren't mortals. The moment you realize that it's not real, you'll see right through the mist. Wow. That was easier than I thought, Naruto grinned. He had been expecting hours upon hours of training and even more tears of frustration. Thanks Apollo. No problem, Apollo looked back down at the poetry he was writing. Say, what's something that rhymes with? I refuse to be an accomplice in your crimes against humanity. Apollo sighed. Why do you have to be like this? Because I have standards. Naruto was interrupted by an urgent flashing coming from Apollo's golden bow that sat on the white couch. Is that supposed to happen? Naruto inched away from the bow. If it exploded, he didn't want to be near it. I think it's my notifications, Apollo grabbed the bow and tapped it twice. It morphed into a square holographic card. Let's see. 26 missed calls from oh dear. I should get back to her soon. A newsletter. 9 reasons why the Soviet Union should be revived. I thought I had already unsubscribed from that. Oh, here it is. It's a message from father. The boss himself. What does he want? Apollo didn't respond. He looked rather pale. Apollo? Hey, you okay there? Concern filled Naruto's voice. He knew that Apollo didn't have the best relationship with Zeus, although to be fair, barely anyone had a good relationship with Zeus. Apollo looked at Naruto, dread and was that fear in his eyes. Naruto, you know how yesterday was the winter solstice where I had to go in for a meeting with the council? Naruto nodded. Yeah. You repeatedly told me that yesterday was a big day for you and that if I pranked you, you will flay me alive, heal me, then flay me again. Ah, the good old days, Apollo smiled. That satyr should have known better. Wait, you mean you actually did that to someone? Naruto asked in horrified astonishment. He had read through Apollo's myths, but not all of them, since he could always just ask Apollo himself. Besides, Naruto didn't really trust the old myths. While most were reliable, there were always the few that were filled with inaccuracies and exaggerations. He should know he lived with one of the old myths. I'm a god, Naruto, Apollo said, a cold emotionless look on his face. Does that really surprise you? No. Not really. Gods and goddesses weren't perfect. They did terrible things all the time. Yeah, then Apollo glanced back down at the holographic card and the fear returned once more. Naruto, I'll probably be gone for a few days. Don't get into trouble while I am. Is there a problem? What happened? Anything that filled a god with fear couldn't possibly be good. Apollo stood up, the holographic card morphing back into a bow. His customary casual outfit disappeared and a sleek white suit materialized instead. Zeus's Master Bolt has been stolen, Apollo announced grimly. I have to track it down. And with that, a bright golden light radiated from his body. Naruto averted his eyes as Apollo assumed his divine form and blinked out of existence. When the light died down, Naruto opened his eyes, deep in thought. The Master Bolt. Zeus's symbol of power, stolen. Naruto was well aware of the ramifications, and they terrified him. This meant war. Not again. XXX. Did you find the thief? Apollo's immortal form seemed to age a decade. After a moment, he whispered, no. Damn it. XXX. Did you find the thief? Artemis lowered her head. I was unable to track him down. Naruto didn't want to fight in a war again. Why couldn't he just enjoy the peace? XXX. 2 years after. What in Tartarus's name is Poseidon thinking? Apollo paced around, playing the violin distractedly. Even though only the violin was being played, it was as if there was an entire orchestra in the room. Different melodies, all harmonizing with each other, filled Naruto with power, strength, but also a grim determination. Naruto may not like Apollo's poetry, but his musical talent was the real deal. I mean, it's bad enough that father accused Poseidon of stealing the Master Bolt, causing Poseidon to be righteously offended and demand an apology. But then Poseidon went ahead and claimed his child, a child he wasn't supposed to have. Apollo flung his hands into the air, the violin hovering in midair. It's almost as if he's asking for a civil war. I don't understand why your dad thinks Poseidon stole the Master Bolt. Naruto thought of all the myths about Poseidon. Thievery isn't the sea god style. Exactly. But father's been all paranoid and stuff ever since we tried to overthrow him. To be fair, you did try to overthrow him. But come on. Any fool can see that Poseidon is innocent. But then Poseidon just had to go and claim his son. Apollo strummed a sharp chord. And now Zeus is fuming. Tensions are at an all-time high. Naruto sighed. There's going to be a meltdown, isn't there? A nuclear meltdown that'll make my sabotage of Chernobyl look like a minor baking soda and vinegar incident, Apollo aptly summarized. Then he smiled. Don't worry though. Hopefully, it won't result in that. The son of Poseidon will get a quest soon to prove his innocence. If he succeeds, the crisis will be averted. And will he succeed? Naruto asked. Apollo shrugged. I hope so. Because if he doesn't, the resulting war will be doomsday level bad. Naruto bit his lip. Let me go out and track the thief down. No, Apollo glared at Naruto. It's too dangerous. Artemis will kill me. But. No. That's final. A golden light burned in Apollo's eyes. Besides, if Artemis and I failed, what makes you think you can do it? Fine. XXX. 2 years, 2 weeks after. Tell me the good news, Naruto begged. Apollo stared at him solemnly. He radiated sorrow and pain. No. Naruto whispered. His heart clenched as he prepared to fight in a war again. Ha. Psych, you thought. Apollo broke out in a grin. Perseus Jackson recovered the Master Bolt and brought it back to father. You jerk. But that still didn't stop the wide smile from spreading on Naruto's face. So the crisis is over. There's not going to be a war. Nope. This calls for a celebratory haiku, don't you think? You know what? Naruto fully relaxed for the first time in months, the threat of war no longer looming over his head. He sank into the soft cushions of the white couch, content and happy. Go for it. XXX. 2 years, 6 months after. These are beautiful, Naruto whispered in awe. He lifted up a silver kunai, inspecting it carefully. He pressed his finger lightly against the sharp edge. When he pulled away, there was a thin line of blood which quickly healed. On one side, an image of the moon was etched on the blade. On the other side, there was an intricate image of a bow. Artemis smiled. I'm glad you like them. I had them custom made by Hephaestus. Thank you, Naruto smiled, placing the kunai and shuriken into his pouch. I admit, I had thought that you would prefer to use hunting knives. Kunai knives are rarely used by demigods, in fact, I think you're the only one. Naruto shrugged. I just like kunai better. They're more versatile, you know. The blade is a little too short for my taste. Artemis materialized her own hunting knives in her hands. I prefer something with a slightly longer reach. Yeah, I get what you're saying, but kunai can be thrown, Naruto pointed out. Besides, I don't really need a weapon in close combat, I only use kunai to defend against bladed weapons. Artemis inclined her head. That's right. You have your Rasengan. Naruto grinned. Don't forget about good old-fashioned punches. Artemis let out a sigh. How barbaric. I can't imagine Apollo teaching you that. It's all me, Naruto promised. Trust me, in order to defeat someone, sometimes all you need is a good punch, especially if you want to be friends afterwards. Like with Neji. And Gaara. Quite a lot of Naruto's friendships had started with a punch. XXX. 2 years, 8 months after. You're in a good mood, Naruto noticed. Apollo turned to Naruto, grinning. What gave it away? Your smile has been on your face for about an hour now. Oh, and you're, literally glowing. Naruto stared at the bright golden glow on Apollo's skin. Naruto could feel the heat being radiated from Apollo, raising the temperature of the room by a few degrees. Ah, of course. Isn't it such a great day? Apollo beamed. Naruto edged away slowly. Should I be scared? Scared? Of course not. Apollo's lyre materialized and he began playing a happy tune, the music flowing over Naruto and surrounding him with warmth. Okay, that's it. What happened? Naruto demanded. Are you sure you want to know? Apollo's fingers danced over the lyre as the sound of flawless arpeggios filled Naruto's ears. Now I do, Naruto slammed his hand down on the table. Come on. Just tell me already. Well, you see. Last night, Apollo trailed off, a faraway look appearing in his eyes. What is it? Naruto practically shouted. Then Naruto recoiled at the expression on Apollo's face. It was the same expression Jiraiya always had on his face whenever he did his research. On second thought, perhaps Naruto didn't want to know. Never mind, please don't tell. Last night, Apollo interrupted happily, I was with this most wonderful singer. She was flaming hot and the things she could do. Rasengan. Holy Zeus, what are you doing? XXX. 3 years after. Half-blood is dying, Apollo announced, rage in his eyes. What? Naruto bolted upright. What happened? Alia's tree was poisoned, Apollo's fists clenched. The magical boundaries no longer keep out the monsters, and soon, it will be gone altogether, allowing monsters to overrun the camp. Poisoned? You're the god of healing, right? Can't you heal it? Apollo shook his head. No. The poison is older than even me. I don't know what it is. It probably came from the depths of Tartarus. I can go help, Naruto pleaded. They're my family. Your own children are there, Apollo. Your sons and daughters. I can defend the camp. No, Apollo said with finality. You're staying here. Naruto briefly considered disobeying but ultimately decided against it. Fine. But just know that I am obeying you with massive reluctance. Apollo sighed miserably. If I thought you could help, I would let you go. But the camp already has a border patrol in place. Besides, if they succeed on the quest, then everything should go back to normal. XXX. Everything did not go back to normal. Alia Grace, the daughter of Zeus, was revived from a tree. Naruto asked incredulously. Are you for real? Yeah, I'm surprised too, Apollo scratched his head bemusedly. The Golden Fleece's healing magic was potent enough to bring her back. Wow. Greek mythology was weird. Is she technically a dryad? Apollo opened his mouth to answer, but then paused. That's a good question. Let's just take the easy route and say she's still a demigod. Alright. XXX. 3 years, 5 months after. Oh no, Naruto groaned when he saw the serious expression on Apollo's face. What is it this time? Did Athena and Poseidon finally get over their rivalry and have children together? I did not need that image in my head, thanks. Did Dionysus intoxicate the entirety of Camp Half-Blood by turning everyone's drinks into wine? That actually almost happened once, I hear. Thankfully, Chiron caught it in time. Did Naruto, Apollo steepled his fingers. Listen to me. Promise me you won't freak out. I won't, Naruto nervously waited for Apollo to speak. The fact was, the last 2 times Apollo had looked like this, he had delivered news about 1, the Master Bolt being stolen and 2, Camp Half-Blood dying. Although Naruto was probably overthinking it. It couldn't be too bad, right? Artemis was captured by the Titans. There was a sudden burst of wind as Naruto appeared right in front of Apollo. What are you waiting for? Let's go save her, Naruto turned to head for the door, but Apollo grabbed his shoulder. Naruto. I'm telling you. No. You're staying right here, Apollo said regretfully. I know how much you want to go out and save her, I want to do the same, but it's too dangerous for you to go. Naruto was silent for a moment. When I wanted to go out and help retrieve the Master Bolt, you didn't let me go, and I obeyed. When I wanted to go out and help Camp Half-Blood, you didn't let me go, and I obeyed. And this time, Apollo stared into Naruto's emotionless eyes, I'm not letting you go either, and you will obey. Don't worry. My little sister is strong. She'll be fine. I'm sure the heroes at Camp Half-Blood and her hunters are already assembling to save. No. Naruto backed away from Apollo. No, not this time. I'm going, Apollo, and you can't stop me. Apollo narrowed his eyes. I can stop you, and I will. Naruto nodded sadly. I'm sorry, Apollo, but you know what this means. Apollo sighed. Well, at least you listened to me the last 2 times. They stood there in the living room, staring at each other. Page Bunshin no Jutsu. 3 clones appeared, each with a spiraling blue sphere in their hands. They leaped at Apollo. Apollo simply materialized his golden bow and unleashed a barrage of arrows. The clones dispelled, releasing smoke, and Naruto came bursting out of the smoke, kunai already deflecting Apollo's arrow. You don't want to fight me, Apollo warned. He blocked Naruto's stab with his bow, then thrust out his hand and banished Naruto backwards. Naruto landed on his feet on the wall, standing parallel to the ground. You know what? I don't care if I have to fight a god. I'm going to save Artemis, and nothing you do can stop me. More shadow clones appeared. The air was suddenly filled with kunai and shuriken traveling faster than the speed of sound. A loud boom continuously echoed out in the hall as the sound barrier was broken repeatedly. Such a harsh sound, Apollo simply shot 2 arrows which promptly exploded, releasing a concussive blast and blowing all the shuriken and kunai away from him. Trust me, I can stop you. The army of shadow clones launched another barrage of shuriken and kunai, which met the same fate as before. Just give up, Naruto. You can't possibly hope to defeat me. I don't want to have to knock you unconscious and imprison you, but I will if I have to, Apollo threatened. Naruto growled and threw down several black pellets. They released a black smoke upon hitting the ground, obscuring Apollo's vision. It's useless, Apollo fired another arrow into the smoke. It unleashed a large gust of wind, blowing all the smoke away. Naruto charged Apollo, a Rasengan in hand. Apollo rolled his eyes, and his bow shifted into a long celestial bronze sword. He blocked the Rasengan effortlessly. Why won't you just listen to me? Apollo asked frustratedly. You can't leave this mansion. If you go off to save Artemis, you'll be discovered. And what do you think will happen then? I don't care. Naruto tried to punch Apollo, but Apollo merely stepped back. I have to go. This isn't like the Master Bolter Camp Half-Blood. In this mansion, I literally only have one rule. Apollo ducked underneath Naruto's kick, then shot a point-blank arrow at Naruto's foot. Naruto dodged it, jumping up and landing on the ceiling. You're not allowed to go outside without either Artemis or me accompanying you. You know what, I don't care about your stupid rule. Naruto stopped attacking and landed on the floor, glaring harshly at Apollo. Those who break the rules may be trash. That's a little too harsh on yourself, Apollo commented. But those who abandon their comrades are even worse than trash. And those who abandon their family are the worst trash of all. Naruto breathed heavily. And you know, well, you gods may be fine with abandoning your kids. You take that back, Apollo's eyes glowed a bright golden. I'm forbidden from interacting with them by the ancient laws. I do the best I can. Naruto paused. Okay, you're right. I'm sorry. In any case, I refuse to abandon her. I don't want to explain to Kakashi-sensei why I'm the worst trash of all. You may refuse to abandon her, but I'm afraid that's what you're going to do. Apollo lifted up his bow, and an arrow appeared. Naruto recognized it as a sleep arrow. Good night, Naruto. I'm sorry about this. Wait. Naruto cried. I have a request. Apollo hesitated. What is it? I'm not going to allow you to go. No. I just wanted to know where Camp Half-Blood is. Apollo scowled. Why? You're never gonna get there. Please. Just humor me, Naruto pleaded. Apollo sighed. Fine. Camp Half-Blood Hill, Farm Road 3.141, Long Island, New York 11954. Happy. Can I shoot you now? Naruto suddenly grinned. Thanks, that's all I needed. Apollo, I'll save her. I promise. Apollo frowned. You're not going anyway. And the shadow clone dispelled. Apollo stood there, flummoxed. Did he? He just. That cunning little wow. Then he unleashed a torrent of vile Greek curses that would have quite literally made someone's ears bleed. XXX. Naruto smirked as he absorbed the clone's memories. His substitution at the beginning of the fight had been flawless. Apollo hadn't expected it or noticed it at all. There was a reason why he was called the most unpredictable ninja. The henge covered him, making him appear like a middle-aged brown-haired man with a forgettable face. Naruto needed to go to Camp Half-Blood. He had no idea where Artemis was, and tracking her down across the entire country would be too slow. At Camp Half-Blood, heroes could help him track down and save Artemis. They also had the Oracle, which was pretty cool. Besides, Naruto preferred to work in a team. Team 7 may never get back together, but that didn't mean there couldn't be a new Team 7. His feet barely even touched the ground as he sprinted, guided by nothing but his instincts and a rough map he had memorized of the area. He picked up speed when he entered the forest. He ran as fast as he physically could, chakra reinforcing his body. Naruto exited the forest, the sudden drain and emptiness not even slowing him down slightly. He yelped as something fast came barreling down towards him and jumped over it to dodge it. He heard a loud beeping sound. It was a car. Naruto quickly caught up to it, then knocked on the window. The driver lazily looked over for a second before turning back to face the road, then he whipped his head back to stare in shock at Naruto. Naruto simply made a rude gesture at the driver before picking up speed, overtaking the car. Cars were fast, sure, but he was faster. And he wasn't even in Kurama Motor Sage mode yet. Finally, after about an hour of non-stop sprinting, Naruto arrived at a hill. There was a tree at the very top with a pile of cables next to it. Naruto gave himself a few minutes to catch his breath and rest up. When his muscles stopped burning, Naruto calmly ambled up the hill, then he stopped abruptly. He couldn't go as himself. Apollo was right, if the gods discovered him, it would be a catastrophe. Naruto may not even be allowed to live, much less go save Artemis. Naruto needed to conceal his appearance. He couldn't do much about his demigod smell, but hopefully, the satyrs and nature spirits wouldn't connect the dots. Going in as a middle-aged brown-haired man with a forgettable face wasn't a good idea. He needed someone else. Naruto smiled. He knew who he wanted to hinge into. XXX. Percy Jackson wasn't having a great time. Annabeth was captured. Bianca had joined the hunters. Thalia was mad at him. Things weren't going so great. Then he saw a kid about 10 years old standing on Half-Blood Hill. "Hey Chiron. Do you know who that is?" Percy pointed to the kid, who was eyeing the dragon suspiciously. Chiron paused in the middle of his lecture, looking up. "No, I do not. A new demigod that just happened to wander onto our doorsteps. Right after Bianca and Nico. I do not know if this is a sign of fortune or an omen of terrible things to come. Oh dear gods, what is that kid doing?" Percy looked again and then his mouth dropped open in awe. Was the kid fighting Peleus? Percy didn't have time to reply before Chiron galloped past him in a blur of speed, appearing right next to the kid. Chiron didn't give the kid a chance to say anything before grabbing him, placing him on his horseback, then galloping back, all in the span of about 3 seconds. Centaurs were fast when they wanted to be. The second Chiron stopped, the kid jumped off, landing on the ground without a sound, eyes wide and staring at Chiron and Percy. "There was a dragon there?" the kid exclaimed. "A real dragon?" Chiron chuckled. "Yes, there was. Peleus guards the golden fleece for the camp and I would appreciate it if you didn't attempt to disembowel him." "The dragon works for you?" The kid looked a little sheepish. Chiron nodded. "Oh. My bad. I was a little startled." The kid rubbed the back of his head, looking down. Then he looked up. "Hey, is this camp Half-Blood?" "It is," Chiron confirmed. "And who may you be?" Percy looked the kid up and down. About 10 years old. Blonde, almost yellow hair. Bright blue eyes. Whisker marks on the cheeks, birthmarks. The kid grinned at them. "My name's Naruto. I'm a demigod. It's a pleasure to meet you." Chapter 4. Camp Half-Blood. In his defense, Naruto had thought that it was perfectly normal for a pile of cables to be laying on the ground. Who knew? Perhaps the daughter of Zeus did some things with them. As a result, when he neared it and it suddenly morphed into a dragon, he had panicked somewhat. Before he could pull out a Rasen Shuriken, however, a centaur had suddenly appeared next to him and whisked him away. Naruto had been a split second away from slicing out the centaur's tendons before he remembered that the activities director of Camp Half-Blood was Chiron, and while Naruto had made bad first impressions before the eraser dropped on Kakashi came to mind, he really didn't want to start off his stay at camp by eviscerating the teacher of heroes. And so, Naruto had restrained himself, even as he was forcibly carried away from the dragon and into Camp Half-Blood. He shuddered slightly as he passed the camp's magical borders. He supposed technically, he counted as a monster, although he can and will punch anyone who even insinuates that Kurama or any of the Biju are monsters, but apparently, since Chiron had carried him in, it counted as an implied invitation. Chiron smiled warmly at Naruto. "Hello there, Naruto. My name is Chiron and I'm the activities director of Camp Half-Blood. This here is young Percy Jackson, the son of Poseidon." Naruto's eyes widened. "You're the guy who recovered the Master Bolt." Percy smiled. "That's me." "Hey wait, how did you know?" Naruto opened his mouth to speak, but Chiron interrupted. "Let's take this discussion to the big house." They passed numerous cabins. Naruto drew in a sharp breath when he saw a familiar silver glow being emitted from cabin 8, and they stopped in front of a large building painted sky blue with a wraparound porch. A man reclined in a chair leafed through a magazine, sipping from a Diet Coke. He had curly hair, so black it almost looked purple. He wore a neon orange leopard skin warm-up suit and had on a pair of purple running shoes. The man looked up when Chiron, Naruto, and Percy arrived. "Great. Another one of you brats," he grumbled out before turning back to his magazine. Chiron sighed as he backed up into a wheelchair and rolled over to the man's side. "Mr. D, please." At least try to be cordial to our new arrivals. There's no need, Naruto bowed down. It's an honor to meet you, Lord Dionysus. Dionysus looked up, slightly intrigued. Oh. You know who I am, boy. Yes sir. Needless to say, in a normal situation, Naruto would be extremely indignated by Dionysus's treatment of him. But this wasn't a normal situation. Artemis was captured, and Naruto couldn't afford to make an enemy of a god. If it meant that he has to grit his teeth and be polite to Dionysus, so be it. Dionysus scrutinized Naruto for a second. Not bad. Certainly a lot better than Peter Johnson over there. At least this one knows proper respect. What is your name? Naruto grinned. Naruto, sir. There seemed to be a light purple flame burning in Dionysus's eyes, and Naruto suddenly felt as if he was being dissected by his intense stare. Was this a test? If it was, then Naruto didn't want to fail it. Naruto returned Dionysus's stare with one of his own. The same eyes he used to stare down Nagato and Obito and Madara and so many others. Of course, it's also possible that Dionysus does this to every new camper to intimidate them and to assert his dominance, but come on. He couldn't be that petty, right? Dionysus's eyebrows raised a fraction of an inch when, instead of looking away uncomfortably, Naruto met his stare head-on. Then the moment passed, the tension died down, and Dionysus went back to reading his magazine. Did he pass? Was it even a test? Naruto glanced at Chiron and Percy, but they didn't seem to have noticed the brief battle of wills between Naruto and Dionysus. Instead, they were staring incredulously at Dionysus. Percy's mouth hung slightly open. I take it back, sir, Chiron looked shocked. It appears that you are capable of cordiality. Dionysus scoffed as he turned a page. Nonsense. Naruto, I hope you die a painful death. Chiron's eyes widened even further. I'm amazed, Lord Dionysus. I had never seen you show such kindness before. Dionysus finally looked up, an irritated look in his eyes. What? Next to Naruto, Percy had a stunned expression on his face. You said that Naruto was not bad. And you asked for his name willingly. And you said his name correctly. Sir. Dionysus rolled his eyes. Oh please. Spare me. As you wish, Mr. D. Sit down, Naruto. Chiron smiled kindly at him and gestured at one of the open seats. Percy hesitated. May I stay? Certainly. You were, after all, the one who initially discovered Naruto. Percy and Naruto sat down. Naruto observed with slight amusement as Percy picked the seat farthest from Dionysus. Clearly, there was no friendship between the two. I take it that you're already aware of the existence of the Greek gods? Chiron asked. Naruto nodded. Yeah. The Greek gods moved around with Western civilization. And I'm the son of one of them. Chiron nodded. Indeed. May I ask how you came to this knowledge? Apollo. At first, Naruto had contemplated acting completely dumb, but that would ultimately work against him. If he wanted to join the quest, he had to establish himself as competent and powerful. Chiron leaned forward, interested. Oh. Is Lord Apollo your father? He looked up above Naruto's head, as if expecting something to pop up. Naruto shuddered. No. Definitely not. It's complicated. Chiron nodded slowly. Do you know your Olympian parent? Nope. Not a clue, Naruto shrugged nonchalantly. How do you know Apollo then? Chiron frowned. Naruto hesitated. It's a long story. One I'd rather not tell right now. Very well, Chiron leaned back. There's no need for you to see the orientation film, as you're already aware of all the main points. For now, we'll place you in cabin 11, with all the other undetermined kids. Naruto nodded, then froze. Undetermined. There was an uncomfortable silence for a moment. Naruto. Gods and goddesses, well. They're not exactly the best parents, Percy said tentatively. There are many demigods here who have never been claimed by their godly parent. But, he added hastily, you'll probably be claimed soon. Don't worry about it. Here, let me take you on a tour of the camp. Yes, that's a good idea, Chiron quickly affirmed. Thank you, Percy, for volunteering. Demigods who have never been claimed. Demigods who have been abandoned by their parent. It's one thing to not interact with their children. Gods are restricted by the ancient laws. But to not claim them altogether. To not simply take a second of their day and acknowledge their existence. Naruto knew what it felt like, not knowing who his parents were. Even worse, there wasn't a reason for the gods to not claim their children. With Naruto, knowledge of his parentage was kept secret from him because, quite frankly, if he knew it at that age, it probably wouldn't have stayed a secret for long. And Minato Namikaze and Kushina Uzumaki had a lot of enemies who wouldn't hesitate to assassinate Naruto. But the gods. What excuse did they have? But he'll deal with that later. For now, Percy was gesturing at Naruto to follow him. Naruto stood up, nodded goodbye to Chiron, bowed once more to Dionysus, and left the big house. You didn't have to be so respectful to him, you know, Percy said once they were out of earshot. Naruto shrugged. He's still a god. It wouldn't hurt to not be respectful to him. Besides, I'd rather not make any enemies just yet. Percy coughed. Oh. Right. Yeah, that's probably a good policy to have. Pampers turned and stared at Naruto as they walked through the camp. Pugasi stable, cabins, archery range, lava rock climbing wall, for the average demigod, difficulty level. High. For anyone who can use chakra, difficulty level. Same as tree climbing, only with a little more risk, showers, oh gods did they not have private showers in the cabins. And so on. Although it was rather odd. Naruto expected there to be a lot more people at camp. Hey, where is everyone? Why is there pretty much nobody here? It's winter, Percy shrugged. This is a summer camp. Right now, only the year-rounders are here. Ah, that explains. Naruto made eye contact with a girl and froze. She smelled like Artemis. Well, okay. That wasn't entirely correct. She had her own smell, strawberries and a slight hint of mint, along with that distinct girl smell, but she had an underlying scent, faint, barely noticeable, but still unmistakably there. Artemis's scent. The hunter of Artemis. The girl noticed him staring and scowled at him. What are you looking at? Naruto didn't respond. The girl paused. Did you hear me? To be honest, he didn't know how to act around the hunters of Artemis. He knew that they had a dislike of the general male population, but at the same time, he did want to get to know them and be friends with them. Naruto didn't want to accidentally burn any bridges. He's fully aware that his normal personality may be offensive at times to people who are not used to him, so for now, in the presence of the hunters, he'll just try to be as laid back and chill as possible, in other words, the exact opposite of Apollo. And who was the most laid back and chill person Naruto knew well enough to mimic? Kakashi-sensei. Did you say something? Naruto tilted his head questioningly. The girl blinked. Are you stupid or something? I'm afraid not, Naruto smiled apologetically. I wasn't listening, you see. I was busy admiring the flowers behind you. The girl turned and sure enough, bright purple flowers bloomed. Naruto didn't really understand how they bloomed since it was winter and it was snowing. Probably magic. Oh. Never mind then, the girl walked away. Percy glared after her. How rude can she be? You're like 10 years old. What did she think you were doing? Naruto observed Percy. While outwardly, Percy's anger seemed to be directed at the girl, looking underneath, Naruto could tell that the anger stemmed from something bigger. Something's bothering you, and it isn't the girl, Naruto hesitated. What's wrong? Percy glanced at Naruto, slightly shocked, before sighing. I found out that one of my friends was interested in joining the hunters. Who? Annabeth, Percy's expression darkened, a pained look entering his eyes. She's in trouble. Luke, an enemy, took her captive. And, according to Zoe's dream, she's another hunter of Artemis. Artemis was kidnapped as well. What? So it wasn't just Artemis. A half-blood was also captured. Percy noticed Naruto's sudden grim countenance. But it'll be fine. We'll rescue her. Them. It's nothing you have to worry about. Yeah. It appears that the camp already knew of Artemis's situation. Anyway, Percy attempted to change the subject. Do you have any questions? About the gods or the camp? Not really, no. Apollo already told me everything I needed to know, Naruto shrugged. I think the tour is over then, Percy rubbed his chin. This is my first time giving an official tour and I don't really know the protocols for this. You wanna head over to the sword arena? I can give you a little lesson in sword fighting. Naruto shrugged. I'm down. XXX. You're distracted. Percy sighed. Am I really that obvious? Not really. I'm just very observant, Naruto sidestepped Percy's half-hearted downward slice. Is it because of Annabeth? All the fight drained out of Percy. He lowered his sword. Yeah. I'm worried sick about her. I'm sorry. I know I told you I'd give you a lesson but right now. I understand, Naruto smiled. Don't worry, I feel the same. There will probably be a quest announced soon. A rescue mission for your friend. Percy froze. Quest. You're right. Naruto frowned. I am. I'll be back, Naruto. Just. Explore or something. Percy turned and began to run away. Where are you going? Naruto called after him, confused. I'm going to go see the oracle. XXX. Naruto sat under a tree, watching bemusedly as Percy collapsed next to him. How did it go? I was just rejected by a mummy, Percy said in a desolate tone. Oh. What else could Naruto say to that? I need to go talk to Grover. He's a satyr, by the way. Any more questions? Percy stood up. Nope. See you around. Naruto watched Percy run off before he shut his eyes once more. Apollo had always said that demigod dreams aren't normal dreams, but rather important visions. Naruto had never experienced a demigod dream before, but there's a first time for everything. And maybe, hopefully, Naruto's dream will reveal something relevant about rescuing Artemis. Oh, and Annabeth too. XXX. Are you the new demigod? An excited voice woke Naruto up. Naruto opened his eyes. He squinted up at the sky, noting the position of the sun. He had been asleep for about an hour, during which he dreamed of Tenzo carving up a tree into the figure of Sasuke and animating it for Sakura. Not a demigod dream. Hopefully. Naruto looked at the person who woke him up. A young boy who looked to be around Naruto's age, shuffling cards in his hands, waited for Naruto's answer. Yeah, I am. My name is Naruto. This is awesome. I'm Nico D'Angelo. Nico grinned at Naruto. I just got to camp yesterday. Do you play Mythomagic? Naruto smiled at the kid's energy. Nico reminded Naruto of, well, himself when he was that age. I have no idea what Mythomagic is. Nico hesitated. Do you want to learn? I mean, it's totally fine if you don't. But it would be, like, really cool if you did. Naruto blinked. Is this your way of asking if we could be friends? What? Nico spluttered for a few moments before looking away and saying quietly yeah. I don't have any friends and Bianca left me to join the hunters and it feels kinda lonely. Naruto's heart warmed up faster than you can say Kaiten. Gakumakaku. This kid. Sure, Naruto smiled. Let's be friends. Nico brightened. Sweet. Alright, so first you need to have cards. The cards are either Greek gods or monsters. I have a huge collection, so I can share some with you, but I'm keeping the holofoils for myself. Basically, you have to defeat the enemy by. Until the quest was issued, there wasn't much Naruto could do, so he might as well sit down and play some games with Nico. Although Naruto was becoming impatient. If the quest isn't issued by tomorrow morning, then Naruto may have no choice but to go out on his own. He'd rather not though. As a shinobi, he knew the importance of information, and the information the oracle gives would be invaluable. And that's pretty much it. Wanna play? Nico asked hopefully. Hit me up with some cards, Naruto grinned. I'll show you the extent of my power. Nico smirked right back. Don't come crying to me when you lose. XXX. How? Naruto stared blankly at Nico. How? You had one card left. Just one. I had 5. And you killed all 5. Nico laughed. Outplayed, Naruto. You targeted the wrong cards. That's broken, Naruto stood up. Hey, you just got to camp yesterday, right? You wanna explore with me? They still had some time until dinner. They had time to kill. Yeah, Nico got up and fell in step with Naruto. Do you know who your godly parent is yet? Naruto shook his head. Nope. I do, however, know Apollo. Nico's eyes widened. No way. I met him yesterday too. Oh? Naruto distinctly recalled Apollo heading out yesterday. How was he? He was awesome, Nico grinned. He drove us to camp in the freaking sun chariot. We flew in the sky in a bus. Naruto breathed a sigh of relief. Judging from Nico's impression of Apollo, he probably hadn't done anything too bad, like recite his poetry or display his womanizing ways. Well, okay, Nico amended. He didn't drive us himself. He let Thalia drive. Naruto sighed heavily. Of course he did. Entrust the sun to a demigod driver. Although it could have been much worse. At least Thalia is the daughter of Zeus. If it had been the son of Poseidon driving. You know Percy? Nico asked as they passed the camp armory. Yup. He gave me the tour of the camp today. Percy is really cool, isn't he? Nico gestured wildly with his hands. So there was this monster trying to kill us yesterday, a manticore, and Percy saved us. Naruto nodded. Indeed. Percy Jackson stopped a war once. No way, Nico breathed in awe. How? Zeus's Master Bolt was stolen, and that incident threatened to rip the gods apart. Percy Jackson recovered the Master Bolt in time, Naruto summarized. Zeus's Master Bolt. That does 600 damage. It was stolen. Nico gasped. How could Zeus be stupid enough to lose something as important as that? Thunder boomed overhead. Nico, you should probably apologize, like, right now, Naruto glanced upward warily. Nico paused. Did that thunder mean that Zeus heard me? Probably, yeah. Oh. Lord Zeus, I humbly beseech you for your forgiveness. Please, forgive this lowly demigod, Nico bowed his head. It is neither my place nor my duty to comment on the actions of one as great as you. I apologize sincerely. Thunder boomed once again, though this time, it was almost appreciative. Naruto stared. What? Why did you go all Shakespeare on me? Nico straightened up from his bow and shrugged. I went to a military school. They taught us a bunch of useless stuff there. Hey, where are we going? Didn't I say that we were going to explore? Nico hesitated. Well, yeah, but isn't this, you know, the forest? It is, Naruto grinned. It's going to be so much fun. Wait, but isn't the forest, like, stocked with monsters? Oh please. We'll be fine. Alright, Nico shrugged. But if I get killed, you're the one who Bianca is going to kill. And who is Bianca? She's my sister, Naiko's face darkened. She joined the Hunters of Artemis, though. She left me. Naruto paused. I know how you feel. Naiko whirled on Naruto. Yeah. You know how it feels when someone you love leaves you. Yes, Naruto said simply. I do. Naiko deflated. Oh. Who? He was my best friend. Naruto didn't expand further, and Naiko didn't ask. You loved him? Naiko finally spoke. He was like a brother to me, Naruto smiled sadly. Then he blinked. Dude, look at that. He pointed at a huge cluster of boulders. It's a pile of rocks, Naiko said unimpressively. No, not that, Naruto's eyes narrowed. Something's not right. His instincts screamed at him that there was something there. Naruto walked up, scrutinizing everything. He could see nothing. He reached out with his senses. There. There was a delta inscribed on the rock. Naiko walked up to the boulders, now frowning. You're right. I can sense something off here. Naruto glanced at Naiko. You can sense something too. Yeah, Naiko pressed his hand against the boulder. I don't know what it is though. There's a delta inscribed on the rock. Naruto blindly reached in with his hand and touched the delta. Immediately, an opening appeared. Whoa. Naiko jumped back, surprised. Where did that come out from? I don't know, Naruto rubbed his chin. He stared into the opening, but he saw only darkness. I'm getting a really bad feeling about this though. We probably shouldn't go in there. If you say so, Naiko glanced curiously into the opening. Naruto touched the delta once more and the opening closed up. What do you think that was? Naiko asked once they were far away. No idea. It felt unnatural though, it reminded Naruto of Orochimaru's numerous hideouts. Although he supposed Artemis's influence also played a role. After all, a man-made underground hideout is the direct antithesis of the wild and the forests. Let's not go back there again. Naiko frowned. Why? It didn't feel that bad. It did. It absolutely did, Naruto tilted his head. Although that's probably because we have different Olympian parents. Perhaps your parent has an affinity for the underground or the earth. You think? Naiko stared down at his hands before tensing up when he heard a loud rustling of leaves and a screeching sound come from near them. He cautiously scanned their surroundings. What was that? Don't worry about it, Naruto dismissed, continuing to walk forwards. Naiko hurriedly stepped by Naruto's side. How can you be so confident? If we get cornered by a monster. Then I'll kill it, Naruto's eyebrows rose in interest when he spotted tracks on the ground. Giant ants. Heavy. Possibly armored. The information streamed into his mind, painting a rather disturbing image in his head. A swarm of giant armored ants. While they wouldn't be particularly difficult to defeat, they would be disgusting to fight. You'll kill it. Naiko looked around fearfully. You're new to this camp, you're even newer than me. Do you really think you can fight against all the monsters in here? Naruto turned to Naiko and gave him a confident smile. Yes. How? Naiko asked. Naruto inclined his head. Like this. And he disappeared. Naiko's eyes widened as he felt a tapping on his shoulder. He whirled around to find Naruto standing behind him, twirling a small silver kunai in his hand and the confident smile still on his face. Just because I'm new, Naruto flicked the kunai to the side without even looking, doesn't mean I'm defenseless, he finished. Naiko's head turned and his eyes widened even more when he saw a bird with a razor-sharp bronze beak fall to the ground, the silver kunai embedded in its eye, before disintegrating into dust. A moment of silence passed as Naiko's mouth moved, trying to form words, but no sound came out. And then the dam broke. That was so cool. Naiko broke out in a wide grin as he looked at the dust on the ground, then at Naruto, then at the dust again. How did you do that? Naruto smirked. I'm just that good. Teach me, Naiko begged. That was legendary. I suppose I can give you a few lessons, Naruto led Naiko over to a small clearing in the forest. He didn't bother to go pick up the kunai. They would automatically return back to his kunai pouch in a few moments. Naruto's kunai and shuriken were Hephaestus made, after all, and with a little added magic from Artemis, the weapons were linked to the pouch. The design was modeled after Zeus's lightning bolt, where it would always return to the sheath. You moved so fast, you were like the rotors of a helicopter. One moment you were there and the next you were behind me. You were gone in a flash. Naruto could swear there were stars shining in Naiko's eyes. It was pretty awesome, huh? Naruto grinned smugly. Alright, let's start with the basics. The basics. Lesson number 1. Taijutsu. Come, Naiko. Attack me. Naiko hesitated. What do you mean? I mean, I can't exactly teach you how to throw projectiles out here, can I? We have an archery range for that. Right now, I'll just teach you how to fight. Naruto held up his hand in the seal of confrontation. We start with the seal of confrontation. Naiko copied Naruto's hand seal, albeit slightly clumsily. Like this. Yup. And then we fight. Come at me." Naruto's arms hung loosely by his side. How?" Naruto stared. "Well, you could try to punch me, I guess. I need to know your general skill level first." "Got it." Naiko charged Naruto, fist cocked back in a heavily telegraphed punch. He was slow, way too slow. Naruto caught the punch in one hand. "Alright, I've seen enough. Rule number 1. Do not telegraph your attacks. Try to use minimal movements." Naiko gritted his teeth. "Understood." Again. And Naiko rushed Naruto once more. XXX. "How are you not sweating?" Naiko panted after about 30 minutes of sparring. Naruto shrugged. "I haven't really exerted myself that much." Naiko seemed to grow depressed at that. "Am I really that bad?" "No." Naruto said vehemently. "You've improved a lot. Keep in mind, Naiko, that I've been training for a lot longer than you. In fact, I'm impressed. You learn at an extremely rapid pace. I don't think you've made the same mistake twice yet." "Really? Really?" "Oh," Naiko blushed slightly at the praise. "I think we should get back now." "Yeah, let's return." Before that, however. Naruto held out 2 fingers in the seal of reconciliation. "We have to make the seal of reconciliation. It's like a handshake, only with the same 2 fingers you used to make the seal of confrontation." Naiko reached out with his own 2 fingers and Naruto grasped it tightly. "Good fight, Naiko. You did well." "Thank you." They made the walk back in a comfortable silence, Naiko staring at Naruto in awe every few moments when he thought Naruto wasn't looking. It was like Konohamaru all over again. When they exited the forest, Chiron and a young girl were waiting for them. Her scent. She was also a hunter of Artemis, although her scent was extremely faint, as if she hadn't been one for very long. "Bianca." Naiko cried happily upon seeing her. He began to run towards her before stopping in place, his smile diminishing in size as if remembering something. But then the smile was back in full force. "I made. Where have you been?" Bianca demanded. "Do you have any idea how worried I was?" Naiko's smile wavered. "What?" "I looked everywhere for you. But I couldn't find you anywhere. Can you imagine how I felt when a dryad told me that she saw you walking into the forest? The forest filled with monsters that will kill you." Bianca threw her hands up in the air. "How reckless can you be?" Chiron nodded sagely. "What she said." Naruto blinked. "Hey, I'm not sure if you've noticed, but there's a lava rock climbing wall over there. Why are you suddenly concerned about camper safety? It's not as if countless other demigods haven't entered the forest before." Chiron winced. "Ahem, I would just like to say that the lava rock climbing wall is perfectly safe and we haven't had a single death yet." "Yet? What would have happened if you had run into a monster? You both would have been killed." Bianca breathed heavily. "Indeed," Chiron nodded once more. "People die when they are killed and demigods are no exception. If we ran into a monster, then I would have eliminated it." Naruto raised an eyebrow at Chiron. Why was Chiron even siding with Bianca with this? "You're what, 10 years old?" Bianca glared at Naruto. "How could you possibly lead my little brother into a dangerous forest when you can't even protect yourself?" Naruto sighed. "Just because I'm young doesn't mean I'm defenseless." "Hey, Naruto, could I speak to you for a moment?" Chiron gestured at Naruto to come closer to him. Naruto cocked his head but did as Chiron asked, leaning in to hear what the centaur had to say. "Just go along with it," Chiron hissed in Naruto's ear. "What?" "I'd rather not have an irritated hunter if I could help it," Chiron's tail flicked nervously. "Tensions are already rather high and I would prefer it if it stayed constant and didn't increase or gods forbid explode. I don't want to see the camp in flames. Again." "Oh, I get it," Naruto whispered back. "I got you. Thank you." Naruto walked back. "Naiko, it's time to go Shakespeare again." Naiko turned to him, betrayed. "What? Why?" "Just do it," and Naruto bowed his head to Bianca, who looked surprised at the turn of events. "I humbly beseech you for your forgiveness. Please, forgive this lowly demigod." Naiko hesitated before bowing his head as well. "Indeed, I have committed a cardinal wrong. I apologize deeply. It shall never happen again." "Oh," Bianca blinked. "Alright then. Naiko, just be careful." "I was careful." Naiko protested. Bianca sighed. "If you say so." Then she turned to Naruto. "You're the new demigod, right? The one that just arrived today?" Naruto nodded. "Yup. Naruto, at your service." Bianca bit her lip for a moment, seeming a little abashed about her previous outburst. "I'm sorry for shouting at you, but I was just worried." Naruto held up a hand, smiling. "I understand completely." "Naruto," Chiron spoke up. "If you would come with me, please." "Oh, sure, yeah." Naruto planted his hands into his pockets and followed Chiron away. "See you around, Naiko." "Bye Naruto." Naiko waved enthusiastically. Naruto walked away, trailing after Chiron, but his heightened sense of hearing could still catch Bianca and Nico's conversation. "What was it that you wanted to tell me?" Bianca asked curiously. While Naruto couldn't see Nico, he could practically feel the excitement that Nico radiated. "Oh yeah. I made a friend, Bianca." "Naruto?" "Naruto," Nico cheerfully confirmed. "He's awesome. I'm so happy for you." Bianca sounded genuinely happy for Nico. She was a good sister. "See, I told you that the kids at Westover Hall were wrong about you." "Well, of course they were. I never liked those kids anyways." Nico was silent for a moment before his energy returned. "You won't believe how awesome Naruto is. He should have his own Mythmagic card." And the smile remained on Naruto's face even after the distance grew too great and the sound of Bianca and Nico's conversation faded away. "Something funny, Naruto?" Chiron inquired. "Not at all, Chiron." Naruto paused. "Oh, by the way, just how many times have you been sued?" Chiron coughed nervously. "I'm sure you're wondering why I asked you to come with me." "That's not what I asked." "Well, the answer, my young half-blood, is simple," Chiron continued, ignoring him. "Percy asked for you. He wishes to talk to you." "He does? Why?" Naruto frowned. Chiron shrugged. "I believe he's planning on introducing you to one of his friends who have expressed interest in you after learning about your encounter with Mr. D. XXX. You smell good." Naruto froze. "Come again?" "Grover, dude." Percy elbowed the satyr, Grover, in the side. "What was that about?" "Oh, sorry," Grover apologized half-heartedly. He sniffed the air. "Seriously though. You smell insanely good. Like nature and trees and, well, nature." He sighed dreamily. "Damn. Damn damn damn." Hopefully, Grover wouldn't connect the dots. Of course, it would be nearly impossible for him to. The idea that there would be a male child of Artemis was so outlandish and improbable that only someone like Kakashi-sensei would think of it. The person would have to be so insane, it loops around back to brilliant. Grover couldn't possibly guess the truth. Naruto dearly hoped he didn't just jinx himself. Fortunately, Grover didn't go the brilliantly insane route. Whatever. It's probably just because of the residue from Lady Artemis. I wouldn't worry about it. Naruto didn't breathe a sigh of relief. He wasn't that obvious anymore, but he did relax slightly. "I see. Well, it's nice to meet you. My name's Naruto." "Grover Underwood." Grover grinned at Naruto. "Tell me. What did you do to Mr. D?" "What do you mean?" Grover gestured wildly with his hands. "According to Percy, Mr. D was actually, well, nice to you. What's your secret? Are you secretly a wine prodigy or something?" "What even is a wine prodigy?" Naruto wondered. "In any case, no. I just met Mr. D and I'm not even sure he likes me. If how he treated me was nice, then I can only shudder to think of how he treats people harshly." "Trust me, you don't want to know." Grover looked down at the ground before sniffing the air again. "Oh man. Your scent. It's amazing. It's like nature and the wild and the forests." Naruto's fingers twitched imperceptibly. "And it's amazing and, wow." Grover stared at Naruto. "I've only smelled this scent on one other person before. Lady Artemis." Naruto's heart skipped several beats. Percy's eyebrows rose in interest. "He smells like Lady Artemis." "His scent is also similar to the hunters of Artemis, although it's more potent and pure." Grover leaned in close to Naruto. "Percy said that you knew Lord Apollo, correct?" "Yes." Naruto nodded carefully. "How did you know Apollo?" Percy asked. Naruto hesitated. "He was my guardian." Grover bleated. He literally bleated in surprise. "Whoa kid, we don't make those claims around here. If they're false." He looked up at the sky nervously. "I'm not lying." Naruto frowned. "I was raised by Apollo." "For real?" Percy's eyebrows scrunched together. "A demigod being raised by a god? I don't think that's ever happened before." Grover crossed his arms. "It's an extremely rare occurrence. Which begs the question. Just why was Apollo your guardian? Why are you special?" "It's time for Kakashi-sensei level bullshit." "It's probably because of my chakra," Naruto said offhandedly. Percy blinked. "Chakra? Isn't that some Indian thing?" "Nope." "Well, yeah, it is, but not the thing I'm talking about." Naruto held up his hand and channeled some chakra to it. Slowly, his hand began to emit blue light. Wasted chakra in terms of efficiency, but it made a cool light show. "This is chakra." Percy and Grover didn't speak. They were too busy examining Naruto's hand. "Apollo discovered that I had it and I guess he decided it was interesting, so he decided to raise me." Naruto shrugged. "I lived in one of his temples." "Chakra would certainly explain it." Grover rubbed the thin wisps of his goatee. "The gods would definitely want to keep an eye on a new or perhaps ancient power." "How did you acquire this chakra?" "I've had it since I was born." "What can you do with it?" Percy asked curiously. Not a lot." Naruto didn't want to reveal a lot yet. He'd rather not draw too much attention to himself. He didn't want a god coming down and looking too closely. That was probably the same reason why Apollo didn't just come to camp and fetch Naruto. It would raise many questions that could lead to the discovery of Naruto's identity. Naruto smiled at the thought of Apollo just glaring down at him overhead in his sun chariot, unable to do a single thing without raising suspicion. As long as he remains in camp, Apollo couldn't get him. Even better, once Naruto goes on the quest, Apollo could do even less. Even more gods would be watching the quest, and direct interference from a god is strictly forbidden. Apollo couldn't just kidnap Naruto in a ray of golden sunlight unless he wanted to risk the wrath of Zeus. Unless, of course, Apollo decided to just stop caring and do it anyways. But that's unlikely because Naruto knew that Apollo needed Artemis to be saved, and Naruto also knew that Apollo knew that out of all the demigods in this camp, Naruto would be the best bet. At least, that's what Naruto hoped would happen. Given how Apollo hasn't swooped down and performed a fly-by kidnapping yet, Naruto figured that was probably the case. Come on, Percy pressed on. Being a human flashlight can't be the only thing chakra can do. What other powers do you have? The horn sounded. Naruto tensed up. What was that? It's a summon to the dining pavilion. In other words, it's time for dinner, Grover said. Finally. I'm starving. Percy suddenly facepalmed. I forgot. Naruto tilted his head. Forgot what? I didn't introduce you to the Hermes cabin yet. That's where you'll be sitting, by the way, Percy explained. Sorry about that. I'll give you a quick introduction. Naruto followed Grover and Percy to the dining pavilion. Fortunately, it appears they've completely forgotten about Naruto's chakra. Thank the gods for ADHD demigods and hungry satyrs. XXX. Naruto. Naiko waved happily at him from the Hermes table. I saved you a seat. Naruto smiled. Thanks, I'll be right there. You know Naiko? Percy asked. Naruto nodded. Yup. Met him after you left today. Hey, why is the atmosphere so tense in here? He was reminded of the room he waited in for the Chunin exams to begin. Percy narrowed his eyes. There's a capture the flag game tonight. Campers versus hunters. We're going to beat them. Naruto didn't need negative emotion sensing to tell that Percy definitely disliked the hunters. Is this because Annabeth wanted to join? Maybe. Is she your certain someone? The grin on Naruto's face was extremely reminiscent of Jiraiya's. Percy blushed furiously. What? No. Of course not. Naruto smirked. I see. If that was the case, then he didn't really blame Percy. If he found out that Hinata wanted to join a group that forbade all romantic relationships, Naruto wouldn't be very happy either. Hey, Connor, Travis, this is Naruto, a new demigod that arrived today. He's undetermined, Percy introduced once they reached the Hermes table. Two guys, brothers, grinned mischievously at Naruto. Hello there. Welcome to cabin 11. The superior cabin. The biggest cabin, if you know what I mean. Percy groaned. He's, like, 10 years old. Please. One of them pouted. We're just joking around, Percy. It's nice to meet you, Naruto. He stretched out his hand. I'm Travis. And I'm Connor. Connor stretched out his hand as well. Naruto raised his eyebrows bemusedly. It's nice to meet you both. He shook Connor's hand first and then Travis's. Alright, two things, Travis grumbled. First of all, why did you shake Connor's hand first? Second, where's your watch? Naruto blinked. My watch. How are we supposed to demonstrate our amazing thievery skills if you don't wear a watch for us to steal? Connor complained. Oh, and he shook my hand first because I'm obviously the better one. Respect your elders, youngling, Travis sniffed imperiously. Do not live in delusions. My job here is done, Percy walked off to the Poseidon table. Travis and Connor grinned at Naruto. In all seriousness though, welcome to the Hermes cabin. Sit wherever you want, though we hear that your pal there saved you a seat. Although there's not really a point of saving you a seat, Connor looked around the Hermes table. Only he, Travis, and Naiko were there. Nobody else. With you, there's only 4 people at the Hermes table. Naruto chuckled. It's the thought that counts. He took the seat next to Naiko. So. Where's the food? They have this really cool system where nymphs deliver the food. And the cups fill up with whatever drinks you want, Naiko explained excitedly. Oh? Any drink? Naruto looked at the empty goblet in front of him. Water. Water materialized in the goblet. Naruto frowned. Spring water. No visible change. Naruto took a sip. Perfection. Naiko stared at him confusedly. What? For you see, Naiko, not all water is created equal. Spring water is the highest quality. Gathered directly from the source, it is the purest form of water you can get. Okay then. XXX. Naruto walked to the pavilion fire to offer some of his food to the gods, then he froze. The young girl was tending to the flames. Hestia. She looked up and saw Naruto. She looked puzzled for a second before recognition entered her eyes. She winked. Naruto smiled back as he walked up to the flames and scraped a portion of his pizza in. For you, Hestia. And Artemis. Oh, and I guess Apollo too. Sorry about earlier today, by the way. Naruto breathed in the smoke and it actually smelled good. Magic. XXX. After they had finished dinner, the pizza was good, the campers and hunters all began gearing up for the capture the flag game. Naiko had run off to find some armor. Naruto simply observed the occupants of the dining pavilion. The hunters of Artemis all looked upset. They were whispering nervously to each other and some of them even looked like they had been crying. They must be worried about Artemis. Even though he hasn't even spoken to them yet, aside from that one girl, Naruto felt a strange sense of kinship with them. Unfortunately, Naruto didn't think they'd like it very much if a boy walked up to them. Their general dislike of the male population was vexing. Naruto will make them accept him, though. Difficult, but not impossible. And if Naruto could get through to a purple-eyed mass murderer, a red and black-eyed mass murderer, and countless others, then he could get through to them. On the campers' side, the Aphrodite kids, Naruto could tell because of their perfect makeup wardrobe hair, looked like they were ready for blood. It made sense that they would dislike the hunters of Artemis. They're literal opposites of each other. Out of all the Olympians, Aphrodite was high on Naruto's list of gods he didn't want discovering his identity. Sadly, it appears that even though the Aphrodite kids had the spirit, they didn't have the skills. Naruto winced as one girl's nail snapped in half as she tried to put on the heavy bronze armor. She must have a high pain tolerance though because she didn't even scream oh. It had been a nail extension and she hadn't even noticed it snapping off yet. Now she's looking and she noticed it. Naruto winced again as she let out a blood-curdling scream. Moving on. 3 Hephaestus kids with huge muscles, presumably from working in the forges all day, were making last-minute checks on their weapons. Weapons that they probably created themselves. A few Ares kids, ferocious expressions on their faces. They almost rivaled the Aphrodite kids in terms of intensity. Almost. Naruto, look at this. I'm wearing real armor. Naiko's blue feathered bronze helmet was falling into his eyes and his breastplate was about 6 sizes too big. His celestial bronze sword was too heavy for him. Naruto chuckled. If I were you, I'd look into asking the Hephaestus kids to forge you some custom armor. Naiko's eyes widened. Custom armor? That would be so cool. I could have my own designs and razor-sharp gauntlets and a built-in sheath for little daggers and so much more. He deflated. I don't think they'll make it for me though. Oh, look, it's Percy. Naiko ran up to Percy excitedly, Naruto following behind at a more sedate pace. Percy, this is awesome. He lifted his sword with effort. Do we get to kill the other team? Naruto blanched. Well. No, Percy replied, looking vaguely disturbed. But the hunters are immortal, right? That's only if they don't fall in battle. Besides. It would be awesome if we just, resurrected as soon as we were killed so we could keep fighting, and… Naiko, this is serious. Real swords. These can hurt, Percy interrupted. Speaking of which, Naruto, what are you wearing? Naruto looked down at himself. Orange pants. Black and orange jacket. Black sandals. What's the problem? Where is your armor? Not wearing armor. Percy paused. Wait, what? Armor is only going to slow me down. I don't need it. Don't worry, I'm not planning on getting hit, Naruto reassured. I'm pretty sure it's a required rule for you to wear armor, Percy scratched his head. Lem asked. Hey Thalia. The girl with spiky hair and electric blue eyes jogged over. What is it? Are we required to wear armor? Percy asked. Thalia frowned. Why wouldn't we wear armor? She turned to look at Naruto. Kid, where's your armor? He says he doesn't need armor, Percy answered for Naruto. Thalia crossed her arms. Kid, what's your name? Naruto. Naruto. You need armor. And a sword. Where's your sword? I don't need that either. Percy and Thalia shared a glance. You need a sword. Yeah, you really do. Naruto has his own knives. Naiko cut in. Show them. Naruto sighed, but he reached into his kunai pouch and took out a single silver kunai. I use these to fight. Huh. Okay then, Thalia narrowed her eyes. You still need armor unless you're planning on getting skewered by arrows. Or impaled by a sword. Or I don't even know what hidden weapons the hunters have. Trust me, you're going to want to wear armor. Naruto inclined his head. You raise an excellent point. Thank you. But no. Armor sucks. It's heavy and clunky and immobile and it does nothing but lower my speed and agility. Besides, Naruto gestured towards the hunters. They've had centuries of archery experience. You really think they can't shoot accurately into the chink of the armor? Without the heavy armor weighing me down, at least I can dodge their arrows. Thalia narrowed her eyes. You think you can dodge their arrows? Yeah. Thalia nodded slowly. Then her fist unexpectedly shot out towards Naruto's gut and slammed into Naruto's awaiting hand. It took a massive amount of self-control for Naruto to restrain his reflexes and not immediately counterattack, but he managed it. Thalia blinked. With that reaction time, you may have a chance after all. Alright then. You do you, I guess. Just don't get killed. Naruto smiled. I won't. Hey Percy, what should we do? Naiko tried to readjust his helmet, but it was in vain. He gave up and it just hung there, slightly lopsided. Percy patted Naiko's shoulders. Just follow the team. Stay out of Zoe's way. We'll have a blast. Tyron's hoof thundered on the pavilion floor. Heroes. You all know the rules. Sadly, I do not think many of you will follow them, but oh well. Blue team Camp Half-Blood shall take the West Woods. Red team the Hunters of Artemis shall take the East Woods. I will serve as referee and battlefield medic. No intentional maiming, please. Allow me to repeat myself. No intentional maiming. Oh come on, Chiron. An Aphrodite kid yelled. No exceptions. Anyone accused of intentional maiming shall first be tried by a kangaroo court and then subsequently punished by becoming my personal stable cleaner. There was a collective shudder around the camp. He doesn't mean what I think he means, right? Naruto asked nervously. Percy looked at Naruto with a haunted look. He does. He absolutely does. All magic items are allowed. Chiron continued. Unless, and this is a very big unless. If it creates fires, explosions, or otherwise any form of incendiary results of any kind, then they are banned. I am looking at you, hunters. One time. A hunter protested. It was one time. Besides, the campers started it. I don't care who started it. The camp was in flames. Do you understand how much paperwork you put me through, you stupid, short-sighted, irresponsible? Chiron coughed. Ahem. That being said, all I can say now is. To your positions. Let the battle begin. Wouldn't the paperwork be Mr. D's job, since he's the camp director? Naruto inquired. Does Mr. D seem like the type to do paperwork? Percy asked rhetorically. Oh. Right. Blue team. Follow me. Thalia commanded. The campers cheered and followed. Percy ran to catch up to Thalia and tripped over somebody's shield. Damn it, Travis. Sorry, he didn't look sorry. XXX. Thalia had put Naruto on defense along with the Hephaestus kid, Beckendorf, Percy, the Stoll brothers, and Naiko. The flag itself was located on top of Zeus's fist. Needless to say, Naruto stayed far away from the entrance. The underground tunnels deeply unsettled him. He climbed to the very top of the pile, precariously adhering himself with chakra, sitting next to Percy. Defense was boring. Naruto amused himself by keeping track of the hunters and campers. A few were already fighting. Naiko struggled to climb to the boulders and Naruto helped him up. What's happening? Naiko asked. Instead of answering, Percy bit his lip before looking to Beckendorf. Can you guys hold the fort? Beckendorf snorted. Of course. Percy took a deep breath before announcing, I'm going in. Naruto's eyebrows rose. This would be interesting. Naiko and the Stoll brothers cheered as Percy raced towards the boundary lines. Naruto sensed no obstacles ahead. Percy should be fine. There was only one guard protecting the flag. Oh? Hey Naiko? Yeah? How would you react if Percy slammed Bianca into the ground? Naiko's eyes flashed dangerously. What? Never mind. It appeared that Percy's plan may actually work. Nope. A tripwire arrow tripped Percy, sending him sprawling into the snow. And there's Thalia, screaming at Percy. Oh man, was that a fart arrow? Even from this far away, Naruto started coughing. He quickly plugged up his nose with a clever application of chakra, but even as he waved away Naiko's concern, he only had one thought, I'm sorry Kiba. By the way, you can come out now, Naruto spoke up. Beckendorf looked at Naruto as if he was insane. What are you talking about? I am impressed, a hunter stepped out of the shadows. She had coppery skin and she had a tiara on her head. There aren't many that can detect me like that, especially not one as young as thyself. Naruto grinned. I'll take that as a compliment. She inclined her head. It was. Her hands twitched, a silver bow materialized suddenly, and a second later, the Stoll brothers let out gasps of pain as arrows slammed into their helmets. Naruto winced. In an amazing display of agility, Zoe had bounded up the pile of boulders and was on top of them in less than a second. Beckendorf tried to fight her off, but her hand streaked forward, grabbed the flag, and then she backflipped off, landing gracefully on the ground before sprinting away. Whoa, Naruto blinked. She's good. After her. Beckendorf cried as he and Naiko gingerly lowered themselves to the ground and began chasing her. Naruto jumped off and caught up to them easily. Hey Beckendorf, he asked, jogging along. What? Beckendorf gasped back. Clearly, while the son of Hephaestus was strong, his aerobics was severely lacking. If we win this, do you promise to make Naiko a custom set of armor? Naiko's eyes suddenly seemed to gain stars. Yeah. Pretty please. Damn it. If we win this, I'll make Naiko 10 sets of custom armor. If we win, you have no idea how happy Sile Beckendorf cut off suddenly. Anyway, the answer is yes. Naruto grinned. It's a deal. And in a burst of speed, Naruto was right behind the hunter. She turned around, surprised. You're fast. She exclaimed before firing an arrow at him, not slowing down as she did. Naruto deflected it with a kunai. He picked up his speed and in a second, he was running ahead of her. So, do you want to stop or should we fight and run? The hunter hesitated before skidding to a stop. This will be quick, she promised before firing off a massive barrage of arrows, all of which were deflected or outright dodged. Naruto smirked at the astonishment on her face. It's nothing personal, but I really can't let you win. 10 sets of custom armor depends on it. Naruto looked ahead, where he could see Percy racing to the boundary line. The hunter turned around and saw him too. She didn't hesitate this time. She just began sprinting. Naruto sighed before running after her. Hey, didn't you hear me? You can't outrun me. He shouted right next to her. She spared him a glance. You cannot stop me either. Naruto paused. Wrong. I'm choosing not to stop you. I can stop you though, and if you don't stop on your own, I'll do it for you. She smirked. You can try. If you insist. They were getting pretty close to the creek, the boundary line, and Naruto couldn't afford to lose. Oh wait. He'd always wanted to do this, and this was his perfect chance. In honor of bushier brows sensei and the absolute badass he displayed when he released the 8th gate and beat the living shit out of Madara. XXX. Ahead of him, Percy could see Zo Nightshade racing towards him like a cheetah high on sugar and caffeine, dodging campers with no trouble. She had their flag in her hands. No. He yelled as he poured on the speed. Percy was 2 feet from the water, already despairing as Zo was about to leap across, win the game, and knock into him for good measure, when an orange and black streak slammed into Zo Nightshade from the side and sent her flying. Dynamic entry. Naruto grinned from his flying kick. Zo was up in a flash, already moving again, but it was too late. Percy had crossed the creek. Game over. XXX. There was disbelieving silence in the forest for a moment. Then the campers released a deafening cheer so loud it probably reached Olympus. Chiron appeared out of the woods, the Stoll brothers on his back. He looked pleasantly surprised, as if he had been expecting a basic ramen, but instead received a deluxe all-you-can-eat-Chiraku ramen special. For the first time in 56 games, he announced, the campers win. Another cheer went up. Percy. 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 They chanted. For their part, the hunters looked shell-shocked and confused, as if they still couldn't believe that they lost. Percy. 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 What were you thinking? Thalia stormed up to Percy. She smelled like rotten eggs, and blue sparks flickered up her armor. Percy narrowed his eyes. I won us the game. You disobeyed my orders. I was at their base, but the flag was gone. We won, Thalia. Percy threw his hands up in the air. What are you even mad about? We won because of a fluke. Did you know that Naruto would go Ultra Instinct on Zo when you ran off? Thalia glared at Percy. If Naruto hadn't been there, then we would have lost. But we didn't lose. Percy retorted. I don't get what you're mad about. We won. It isn't about winning, Thalia growled. This is the second time that you disobeyed my orders. And sure, maybe it worked out this time, but it probably won't work next time, and it most certainly did not work last time. Percy grew still. Are you blaming what happened to Annabeth on me? He asked dangerously. Thalia paused, sensing that she'd gone too far. That's not what I meant. A stream of water shot out from the creek, blasting Thalia in the face. Travis giggled. Percy just made Thalia wet. Dude, shut up, Beckendorf muttered. Sorry. Percy's eyes widened, turning pale. I didn't mean to. Thalia pushed Percy, a shock going through his body and blowing him backwards 10 feet into the water. Oh, Thalia just blowed Percy, Travis crowed. Dude. Yeah, Thalia growled. I didn't mean to either. Percy stood up and stepped onto the water. Jason Bourne, it's Jesus Christ. Travis gasped. Okay, that was actually good. Percy raised his bronze blade. You want some, Pinnacone face. Thalia raised her spear in response. Bring it, seaweed brain. They're all playing. Dude, shut up. XXX. Hestia observed the proceedings confusedly. Why are they fighting? She muttered. Bionissa stood next to her, chewing on peeled grapes. Isn't it obvious? No. Would you care to explain? Bionissa shrugged. Alright. The thing you have to understand, Hestia, is that they both possess an extraordinary amount of repressed anger and shame and sadness and guilt from losing Annie girl. Annabeth. Whatever. The point is, they're not really fighting over the disobeying orders thing. They would have ended up fighting anyway, no matter what the reason. They both blame themselves for the loss of Annie girl, so they're taking it out on each other. I wouldn't worry too much about it. They don't actually hate each other. This is just the manifestation of all their repressed anger. It's like therapy for them. Hestia paused. You actually know your stuff. Leonissa scoffed. I'm the god of madness. Psychology is right up my alley. She glanced sideways at him. That's a lie. What's the real reason? Leonissa's eyes widened before he chuckled. You always were too perceptive. Fine. I wanted to give Ariadne a reason why Theseus left her, to convince her that it wasn't her fault, and somehow it ended me up learning philosophy, psychology, and a bunch of other mind stuff so I could properly psychoanalyze Theseus. Hestia smiled. The things you do for family. Indeed. XXX. Enough. Chiron ordered. The two ignored him. Thalia raised her blade, and Naruto smelled ozone. There was a very good chance that Thalia would blast Percy with lightning sometime in the next second. Naruto was suddenly struck with a sense of deja vu. He'd been in this situation before. On the hospital roof, when he had been fighting with Sasuke. Naruto and Sasuke were Percy and Thalia. Chiron would be Kakashi-sensei, then Naruto glanced over. Chiron stood there helplessly. He was completely useless. Never mind. Chiron was Sakura. Which meant. Who was Kakashi-sensei? Naruto scanned the faces of everyone, but nobody looked as if they were going to jump in and stop the two. Nobody, except for him. Naruto sighed. First bushier brows sensei, now Kakashi sensei. Next thing you know, I'll be emulating Iruka sensei. Thalia yelled and a blast of lightning came down from the sky, hit her spear like a lightning rod and slammed into Naruto, who suddenly appeared between the two. To be more precise, it slammed into Naruto's hand, his hand that was holding a Rasengan. Lightning bolt against a Rasengan packed densely with chakra. The Rasengan won. The lightning bolt wasn't that powerful because Thalia wasn't actually trying to kill Percy. There was silence once more as the lightning fizzled out and the Rasengan disappeared as if it was never there. Are you kidding me? Naruto yelled. You two are comrades. Why are you fighting? Hypocrite, hypocrite, hypocrite. Naruto. Sasuke. Hypocrite, hypocrite, hypocrite. Shut up. I mean, for the love of the gods, just chill. Naruto sighed exasperatedly. Talk it out like normal human beings. You just. Thalia trailed off. You just blocked a lightning bolt with your hand. Did they not see the Rasengan? Naruto did suppose that the light of the electricity would cover it up, but they didn't see it. Damn, his luck was good. How did you stop the lightning bolt? What the Hades is that? Percy yelped, looking right behind Naruto. Naruto turned around and saw something that terrified him. It was shrouded in a murky green mist. A withered mummy. This is impossible, Chiron breathed nervously. She has never left the attic. Never. Nobody dared to move except for Naruto, who leaped back. He was pale. GG ghost. I am the spirit of Delphi, it said, speaker of the prophecies of Phobos Apollo, slayer of the mighty Python. Naruto blinked. Never mind, false alarm. The oracle turned and regarded the tiara girl with its cold dead eyes. Approach, seek her, and ask. She swallowed. What must I do to help my goddess? The oracle's mouth opened and green mist poured out. A vague image of a mountain and a girl standing at the barren peak. Naruto drew a sharp breath, but nobody noticed. It was Artemis, but she was wrapped in chains, fettered to the rocks. She was kneeling, her hands raised as if to fend off an attacker, and it looked like she was in pain. The oracle spoke. 5 shall go west to the goddess in chains. 1 shall be lost in the land without rain. The bane of Olympus shows the trail. Hampers and hunters combined prevail. The Titan's curse must one withstand. And 1 shall perish by a parent's hand. The mist swirled and retreated like a great green serpent into the mummy's mouth. She sat down on a rock and became still. Naruto's heart pounded harshly against his chest as his hands twitched uncontrollably. His chakra fluctuated and he had a wild look in his eyes. He was going to save Artemis. No matter what. What if Naruto was grandson of Artemis? And thanks for watching my video till the end. If you enjoy this content, then do consider subscribing to my channel and leave a like if you guys need the next part, comment down, and thanks for watching the video and see you guys in the next video.